In
Oh
fact,
yeah, look at these prices.
In fact, there's a quote, and my Richard Mille costs more than your car. And there's another quote,
it's true.
Richard Mille cost me about an Aston Martin. Those quotes were from the song High End with Chris Brown and Future.
I think Paddock make models, because the $30,000 one is like the base one. At least from what I believe.
Yeah. I prefer Sangan Instruments watch myself, manufactured by old retired Naval Special Warfare.
I'm a Timex guy. I buy it at Walmart.
Right, anyways. Hey party people. Welcome back to the Split Party Podcast. This is going to be episode 12B, yeah. Sorry, I did minimize everything to look at my screen to see what episodes we had recorded. This is going to be episode 12B. If you are not already, you can follow us on social media. All the links to everything that I would be normally telling you guys will be in a Linktree link in the description. That includes our Instagram, our Twitter, our YouTube, and our Discord if you want to come hang out with us or other members of our community and talk about the podcast, get to know us, ask us questions, whatever you got to do. There's also plenty of additional content on our Discord, such as NPC spotlights, little blurbs about the cast and the characters, and a few other things. So go check it out. That being said, we're going to be getting into the recap here in a moment. And then after the recap, we're going to be diving right into where we left off. And then it's all my players, all player agency. Gracos, 301st year of Darkreign. I understand what you think this will do, but you have no idea what differences it can make. You can't know of this. He wants this for power, for the means to control and destroy at his whim, and at his discretion, reason or not. You need to leave the Raven Court too. I beg you, come to Novastoya. Stay with me. I've read the tomes. I have the knowledge. I can create the rift between us and infinite creation. Just a small one. A pocket dimension. A place where we can live and have all the things we ever dreamed of. A place that we can give back to the world that made us. Think of the possibilities. Mud turned into armor without a smith, without the materials, without the metals, for the cost of nothing. Water made into potions of healing for the sick. Garbage and waste turned to food for the needy. Novastoya would be paradise. So leave the Druid. Leave the Raven Court too. And come home to me, Anastasia. From a tear-stained letter, read by a stranger with shaking hands. We resume with you guys having just been in a fight. That fight has just ended. During that fight, Rubin went down. Gabriel went pretty close to going down, mostly of his own accord. And Tamacti was flying around and did all that he could to save Sasha, who was kind of like fell off the ship when his leg got eaten down to the bone by these little creatures that you guys were fighting.
And I think he was almost dying too.
Yeah, stuff was pretty rough. And then the bat came out of nowhere and like broke the railing at the back of the ship, and in almost toppling over the back of the ship also broke all the lanterns that were hanging off the back of the ship, so there's no light leading into your guys' cabin where you guys stay, like on the second floor of the ship. And as you guys were going further and further down the river, the trees were getting thicker and the river was getting more and more narrow, and that's when you guys were attacked, of course. Finally, after the fight, you came to a wider clearing sort of area, at which point Weasel claimed that he saw that the river was getting wider and that you guys might have a place to sort of take it easy for a little bit, because without much distance between you guys in the woods, it's easier for you to get attacked. But now that it's wider, the only threat that you really have is either from the water or the air. So a little bit less to worry about. At the end of the fight, after Weasel claimed that, Weasel went to rest and got somebody else to take the helm, as well as the rest of you guys claimed that you were going to rest. Everyone sort of switched with other people on the ship, like switching positions, guard shifts, kind of, basically. Do you remember where it was that you guys slept? Did you all sleep in your cabin?
I believe so. I don't really think I would have any other chance.
I think I might have slept like around all the other people because there's a hole in the back of the cabin.
Yeah, I did rip the wall in half.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
I feel like getting dragged down in my sleep.
I feel like I remember that Gabriel, like, sort of...
I was still on top.
You were on top. Tamacti left you and talked with Lanya, Sasha, and Balfour, and sort of like slumped down next to them and fell asleep. And then I think Rubin just sort of wandered down and found a place to sleep below deck as well, but not in the cabin.
Yeah, he wasn't sleeping in the cabin. I also gave Gabriel a lumen vial, I think, as well.
Yes, sir. I do have that.
Man, I'm running out of sleep drugs.
Yeah. So then I thought that Gabriel also went to sleep. I thought that everyone did.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, he said he'd be up there for like an hour, I think, and then came down if nothing happened.
Yeah, I think it was like I'll stay there for a little while. If nothing happened,
that's
then
what
I
I
go
thought.
switch, and then I went downstairs.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and then I closed the last session with saying that we'll find out what happens after you guys are all done with your long rest.
After we're waking up.
I do remember all that. Okay. So where would you say that you went to sleep, Gabriel? We can make a little retcon on that. I know our listeners are probably like, he said the second floor in the back.
Right next to the cooking pot.
Growler, you idiot.
I don't think I said it anything last time, so I think I'm good. I suppose our room. Why not? Even though there's a slight hole at the back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get on my carpenter stuff tomorrow. I'm gonna fix that up.
Okay.
It's gonna be the test.
Carpentry, you say?
But if only Tamacti knew anything about that.
Okay. So you guys wake up. It's been a long night of probably restlessness, a little bit of shifting, creaking of the ship, the oars still lapping against the water, and the ship gently sort of swaying forward with every sort of row that's happening. And somebody at some point, not saying it's the same person for all three of you, but at some point each of you either wake up on your own or are woken up by somebody else. They share the same sentiments of, hey, it's time to wake up, we're switching shifts. It appears that nothing had gone
All
out
right.
of the ordinary while you guys were sleeping. Otherwise, you probably would have been woken up in a much more hasty fashion.
Sounds good. I guess as per usual, I'll be first, and I'll make my way upstairs.
Okay.
See that everyone's still alive.
Yeah, you probably, you're walking out of the back room and you see over there next to Lanya, Belfour, and Sasha is Tamacti, kind of like, I'm going to power game you a little bit, head just resting kind of along the back with... Don't take this the wrong way, but head rested up against like Belfour's probably shoulder. He's a pretty big guy, really comfy shoulder, I bet. And I need a confirmation of where you'd be sleeping, Rubin.
Like I said, he would have found where everyone else sleeps, and if there was like an empty bunk or spot, he would have just laid down.
Okay. A lot of it is just like hanging
Hanging fucking hammocks
hanging
or whatever.
hammocks.
Yeah.
And then the ships have a lot of hammocks. So yeah, he would have like climbed into some empty hammock that probably was a crew member's and slept in there. Safety in numbers and all that.
Okay. So Gabriel, as you arrive at the top of the ship, you see that the torches that are lit on the sides in front of the ship are still lit and illuminating just the edge of the woods. The river is wide enough here that the kind of dim light that fades out into the darkness is illuminating just the closest trees and their tree branches, and glistening off the water, and it's pitch black pretty much because the sun is eclipsed by both Acreon and Sirion, the two blue moons of the sky.
Very well. Is our captain back on station?
He is back on station. He is there, still rubbing one of his eyes, perhaps woken up not too long before you.
Gotcha.
It's fair to assume that the whole shift changed at once.
Got it. I will. I'll make my way towards Weasel.
Mm-hmm. And the previous captain is still there, kind of informing him on how things went and just rattling off a couple like hypothetical numbers of how far you guys have traveled, but he's not entirely sure.
Damn, Thorgrim got revived? I didn't know that.
Did I say Thorgrim?
No, you said previous captain, so I was like...
Oh, I meant that as in like the guy who was previously captaining the ship while Weasel was sleeping, which would be...
It was the second in
Boren.
command guy, right?
It'd be Boren, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got it. I will walk up the little steps, then wave at them. Nothing has gone awry while we were sleeping.
Yeah, that's what Boren is telling me. They heard cracking of sticks in the woods, rustling of leaves, screeches, roars, the usual, but nothing has attacked us yet, so...
The longer we stay in these lands, the more you will get used to the noises. Become part of the background.
Right. Well, I hope to not stay here too long. A week or two at the most.
How long do you estimate this trip down the river to take? You are more of a sailing expert than us.
I'm not quite sure. I was looking at the maps, and Boren and I were just discussing this. It could take us 5-6 days nearer to the end of Darkreign, but I don't think that we will. It would take longer than Darkreign. It's bad timing, really, to be in such a confined place with so many threats around.
And not much for cover. But at the least, we are always moving.
Always, yes.
Stopping is what kills you in these woods.
Alright. Well, I hope that we don't have to. Do you know if Tamacti and Rubin are awake and how they're doing? How are you feeling?
I have been worse. As for the other two, I believe they are waking. The one who woke me was heading in their direction.
Right. We come away from this conversation to come over to both Rubin and Tamacti. Rubin, you've just been kind of like tapped a few times on your shoulder through the side of the hammock as it's like tight against your skin or tight against your armor. I don't know if you're sleeping in your armor or what.
Yeah, he's probably sleeping in his armor.
Yeah, it's tight against you in the hammock, and you can hear like a little thud, 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 thud as he's just gently tapping your shoulder plate.
And he takes in a deep waking breath. This is like just coming up from a dream or something. Though definitely it wasn't dreaming, and looks down towards whoever had been tapping him.
It's just one of the other crewmen. Hey, it's time to switch shifts. Give me your bunk. Hey, by bunk he means hammock, of course, but
Thanks. And he looks around again, and on the opposite side, just kind of rolls out of the hammock onto his feet.
And he sort of unceremoniously like hops once up and kind of rolls and crawls into the hammock, folding it over himself and just trying to get comfortable. You can still hear him rustling around and trying to situate himself as you're either leaving or getting your stuff ready or whatever.
Yeah, his belt was probably, and a couple other things were probably just like down by one of the pillars that the hammock's strung to. He just collects it and starts strapping whatever onto him and makes towards the stairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and as you make your way for the stairs, there is simultaneously going on an individual that grabs onto Tamacti's shoulder and kind of rocks him side to side a little bit. Hey, psst, hello?
Tamacti slowly sort of opens his eyes. He looks tired. Yes?
It's time to wake up. We're switching shifts.
Right.
Do you feel better? How do you feel?
I am fine. Here, help me up.
He offers you a hand, says kind of quietly, just the way he has been speaking. You don't look fine. Is there anything I can get you? Water? Food? Anything?
Thank you for your concern, but I assure you I'll be okay. And Tamacti gets up, and by the time he's sort of reached full sort of, I guess, standing on his feet, he's sort of already kind of gotten back into his old sort of energy. Mm-hmm. No sign of the wariness that had just been seen a second ago. Mm-hmm. Sort of bounces on his heels a little. Right. Well, I assume you probably don't want to sleep on the floor like I did. Tamacti would sort of crane his back a little bit, stretching, and hear some cracking.
Yeah, a couple pops.
Not the most comfortable sleeping accommodations, I assure you.
I was actually going to sleep in the back, your previous bunks.
Good call. Good call.
I don't know this guy well enough to sleep on his shoulder like you. Balfour is there with his head like kind of up straight, like tilted against, like rocking back sort of against the wall. And Sasha's head is like on his other shoulder, the one opposite from where you were. And Lanya is just kind of there with her head like craned down, just kind of like chin to chest.
Mm-hmm. Right. I suppose I should wake them as well. You go ahead and you get some sleep.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. And be careful out there. Nothing happened on our shift. There's bound to be something soon.
We'll keep our eyes wide open.
Right. He slaps you once on the shoulder. Not like loud or anything like that. Like he's trying to hit you. But he makes his way to the back rooms after doing that.
Okay. And Tamacti will sort of crouch down in front of the three companions. Mm-hmm. Everyone, it is time to wake up. They'll sort of say in a kind of a low but pointed tone, see if that gets any of their attentions, if any of them are light sleepers.
Sasha kind of like rubs his eye into Thorgrim's shoulder, kind of like turning his head away from you.
Thorgrim?
Trying to escape. Sorry, did I say Thorgrim? I meant Sasha into... the name is stuck in my head now.
I got him in your
I
head.
think you brought it up. Yeah, what the heck, man?
I screwed you up.
Now, Sasha rubs his eye socket into Balfour's shoulder. They're just kind of like turning his head away from you, like trying to escape your voice. And Balfour opens up one eye, like just barely squinting the other one, like almost imperceptibly, like in the darkness. Lanya sniffs a couple times as she brings her head up slowly, cranes out her arms like in a wide arch. What? We just went to sleep.
As much as it may feel that way given the lack of daylight, we've actually been sleeping for some time. A full shift of watch has already come and gone.
Right. Well, I don't know about the others, but I think I'm going to go downstairs and switch out with one of the roars.
Good. Sasha, I think it's best if you join her. It's probably not best for you to be up and on that leg just yet.
He kind of like blinks his eyes a few times as he's waking up and looks down at his leg, which is not entirely healed, but healed enough that he can, function and be a normal.
Definitely not stripped to the fucking bone like it was before.
A lot of the muscle has returned and stuff like that, but there's still like a little indent kind of on the side. And he sort of like lets out a staccato sort of exhale in disbelief, as if he's like the memories are rushing back, like, oh shit.
Realized he wasn't dreaming.
Yeah, he kind of winces and grits his teeth a little bit before looking up to you and then back down at his leg and just kind of like nodding absently. Yeah, I guess so.
We'll find you a proper healer soon enough, don't worry.
Fuck, just fly me over to Limger's ship, he kind of says with a chuckle at the end. And
not a bad idea.
Actually, not a bad idea. I don't know why I hadn't considered that myself.
It can wait. At the end of my shift, I think. The others downstairs, I'm sure they're fucking tired.
Very well. And Balfour, what will you do?
Lanya helps Sasha up, and they kind of make their way for the stairs unceremoniously. Balfour sort of cracks his knuckles against each other and then pops his thumbs, like putting pressure on like the base of the thumb, switching hand to hand, and cracks his neck once to one side and is really trying to crack his neck to the other side, but he can't get it to pop, and he's like stretching his back to kind of loosen it up, and that's all going on while Sasha has been talking, and Balfour gulps once and says, I suppose I should go up to the top of the ship.
Tamacti waits to see if there's going to be a further statement or not.
Is that where you're going?
Yes, I will be standing watch.
I guess I'll go with you. I'm nothing on the second floor. I can't help the chef cook or anything. I wouldn't know what to do.
Sure, well, you and I have that in common, friend.
Right, help me up here.
Sure.
And mind you, Balfour's a huge dude, so...
Yeah, Tamacti is going to use his wings as a leverage. Sort of unfurl his wings and push them against the wall.
Yeah.
To keep him from getting yanked over.
Okay. And you can tell that he goes kind of light on you, and he does most of the work himself. But he definitely appreciates the gesture, and he kind of like tiredly smirks at one side of his mouth. Takes in a long inhale, followed by an equally as long exhale before making the first step towards the stairs.
Tamacti will sort of retract his wings back behind his back, and then turn around and follow Balfour upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then up the stairs that you both go, following shortly behind Rubin. And Rubin, when you get to the top there, you see Gabriel is up speaking with Weasel, and by now Boren has probably left the trio that was up there.
Before getting to the top, everyone's actually going to stop by the kitchen to see if there's any food.
Yeah, there are actually rations sort of pre-portioned out in little wrappings. Mother Ishka is not there. She's not awake right now. And it's clear that they're going kind of by like the honor system where like, yeah, take one. Don't be that asshole that takes more than one.
Hey,
Gotcha.
grab me brekkie, bro.
Yeah, on the way up, he'll grab 3 because he's assuming that his comrades hadn't eaten, and stacked them in his arms and head back up. So he'd probably be caught up with Tamacti by the time he made his way back to the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. And so you and Boren and Tamacti all emerge at the top end together.
And he's gonna hand off a ration to Tamacti as they're heading up. You look like shit. How'd you sleep?
Terribly. I should have slept in one of the bunks or the cots or the hammocks. Any of the options available to me. That was not the floor.
The hammocks are quite nice. They rock with the waves. And he stresses out a little bit. By the way, he's still looking kind of fucked up from yesterday's encounter. He's not 100%, that's for sure.
Good old witch hunter.
We got to long rest, right?
Yeah, he's a witch hunter.
Okay.
If I had to rate my health
on a scale
from
of 1 to 28,
0 to 54. No,
I'm doing
anyway,
a 36.
Wait a minute. Your HP only goes up to 54?
I don't have a lot of HP, man.
You're weaker than I am.
Yeah.
Wait, 54?
Yeah, that's my
I
HP.
have 92.
You know what's crazy
Well, I had a
about
tough
this?
feat.
You know what's crazy? Is that you guys are like, what? That's so low?
Meanwhile,
I think
Asa
Byline-
has like 30.
Yeah, they have 50, 42, and 45.
So
Oh
what you're
my
saying is that when we meet back up with them, we'll definitely be able to dumpster them in combat.
They'll be like, stop! And we'll just fucking flick them off like a little ant.
We'll see.
It would take me 1 turn.
Actually.
And as they reach the top, Rubin's gonna make his way over to Gabriel upon seeing him and hand off the second ration.
I wave at you and I take the ration, kind of slowly open it and start eating. You look terrible, Rubin.
I feel terrible.
And Gabriel seems to have gotten a decent night's rest. Like he slept in worse conditions.
The 3 of you are still alive. That's a good thing. And Rizzo's like just casually like steering the ship, just small adjustments to the left and the right, and you can hear the creaking and lapping of
Indeed.
the waves and everything.
One of Tamacti's friends almost did not make it.
Had it not been for Tamacti, I feel like there would have been a few deaths last night,
Tamacti walks up.
including mine.
Tamakti's ears would be,
I look at you.
red as he walks up. He knows people are talking about him. Good morning.
Morning. You look bad. Just as much as Rubin almost.
Thanks.
And Rubin's digging into his ration.
I smile slightly and I start eating.
Tamakti would not have been damaged at all in the fight.
Yeah, he still looks like shit.
What? You were damaged.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. I forgot. I kind of got
Almost
aced
died.
up on top of that.
Yeah, you almost got killed.
Don't worry, this one does not forget.
Oh, you almost got fucked.
Belfour, upon seeing Reuben arrive with the rations, would have gone downstairs, by the way, to go get himself one after realizing, like, oh shit, I'm hungry. His stomach grumbles, and he makes his way downstairs. He has not come back up yet.
Fair enough.
And I will state when he comes back up.
Does someone want to take the crow's nest today? Otherwise, I will go again.
Probably best if I do it, given my long-range capabilities.
And
I
he
know, I
can
know.
fly.
I will stay at the back then if you want to take the front again.
Sure, I can take the front.
Right. Well, good luck to the both of you. Tamakti will then whoosh, take to the air, and
And the wind, the gust from his fucking aggressive takeoff almost
As me
blows the
flying
ration
back.
out of Reuben's hand. You know, like cat scrambles to catch
like
it.
that scene from Infinity War when
Yeah, the taco
back
fly- don't
blast
worry, I have
knocks
a
the
spare one.
tacos over.
Yeah, you'd see Gabriel eating tacos out of his ration.
Yeah.
All right. Tamakti will then perch himself within the crow's nest, unsling his rifle, check to make sure that it's loaded and the powder's clean and dry, and the flint is ready.
And while up there, I think it stands out, perhaps, there are still the carvings from that seagull. The
Right.
symbol of... Shit, I'm drawing a blank.
The symbol of
Whoever your
Moriel,
god is.
Yeah, the symbol
my,
Yeah, that one.
the arch seraph of my faith.
Yes, the symbol of Moriel and, like, the just got, like,
Yeah.
shavings that were there. And
I was actually listening to that scene driving around to work yesterday morning,
Oh.
talking to that seagull.
yeah, that was good.
Nothing's changed about it, I trust.
Yeah, nothing's
Okay.
changed. It's still there, just how it
Yeah,
was.
Vasili's
It's
back.
actually
yeah.
filled in with blood.
Tamakti will run a hand over it, sort of nod to himself, and then just sort of hunker down, keeping a keen eye cast around, looking for all manner of night creatures to dispose of.
Yep.
And Ruben's going to post at the front. And actually, as I have them, and I've never used them, he's going to take out a couple candles. And it's kind of like plop them on like the side railing and light them
How do you light them?
with my tinderbox.
Okay, that works for me.
I will do the same at the back. I have a hooded lantern I will use to kind of attach to a rope and string it at the back of the boat. Because, we lost all of our lanterns because the bat crashed there.
That is true.
So at least we'll have one at the back.
Okay. I think that, is there anything else that you do, Ruben?
I think while he sits there and just kind of looks out, he's going to mutter like a silent prayer, not to anyone in particular, just like, it's
Someone please give me
something
my
he
spells
does.
back.
You know, it's just like habit, you know, it's second nature. It's something he's done every day for his entire life, and he's just continuing on.
That
But
reminds
other
me.
than that, he doesn't do anything.
Okay, so then as Gabriel is at the top back of the ship, behind the helm, and Rubin is at the front with his candles, and he's muttering this soft prayer, and Tamacti is up there at the crow's nest. You hear something, Rubin, that is spoken directly to you.
Rubin, it's Rilo. Any updates? We are in Nova Story. Darkreign has been held. You both have been in my prayers. 25 words per message.
In his roleplay for that part, he actually said, and Rylan kind of ends it with a little bit of a chuckle. So that was all in character, like for real.
25 words per
You
message.
can hear him laughing.
25 words per
So funny.
Directly following that one up, though, before you can even respond, it appears that he casts it again, and you hear this.
A message from someone special. Son, sorry I was not around. I'll explain it when I see you. Rylon conjured an image of you. Stay safe.
Huh.
Your weird ass
I
cult
think that might
leader.
did, I guess.
Your weird ass cult leader dad didn't teleport to Nova Stoya, did he? Where did
Well, we
Oh,
don't really
God.
know where he
where did we
went.
send
You
him?
have a dad? I didn't even know.
Yeah, well, yeah, his the Speaker
I don't
Quarren's
think we're
is
speaking
dead.
about the
Speaker
same
Corin
dad.
went to Olsenburg.
I don't think we're talking about the same father here. Are we, Rubin?
You have 25 words to respond.
Well, you got 2 messages to reply to.
You just said for about.
Okay, wait, no. This is not in character. Do I have a moment to think on it, or?
It's got to be organic. Hit us with it. 25 words. Count them out on your fingers while you're saying them.
Good to hear you, Rubin.
Rylon. Don't include that in character.
I'll let you redo.
Sorry,
In fact, hold on. We'll say before this,
I'm really caught off guard.
we're gonna come back to Weasel and Gabriel and give you a moment. I'm gonna be merciful. Fucking peasant.
I finished strapping my hooded lantern, like kind of fastening it at the back of what's left of our rail, because I don't want it like swinging around. So then, if it breaks on the side, then the side of the boat's on fire. So, and I turn around. Is someone going to repair this hole downstairs? The one I made. To be fair,
and
if
Weasel's
not,
saying this.
I will.
Weasel's saying this, like not looking at you. He's still like looking forward. But he says, kind of tilting his head just a little bit to the side to speak over his shoulder, still looking forward. In truth, I had forgotten about it. Had not even thought about it, but
I did not as well, but when I went to sleep earlier, I noticed.
I suppose that we have the materials. We could just board up the whole thing. No window at all.
I nod. That would be for the best. The less windows there are in these parts, the better. If you have no one willing to do it, I will repair before going to sleep. It is my damaged.
Right, but I suppose we'll get it sorted. And, well, I mean, if you wanted to work on it, you could.
Do you not need me here?
I could always use someone here, but I suppose if something tries to clutch onto me and sweep me up into the air, I can hold onto the wheel and shout a bunch.
I look down. Would it be possible, like, for me to just, if I was in that room repairing stuff, to just climb up, like, from the hole and just climb up? Since there's no railing anymore, I assume there's not much of a distance to climb.
There is not much of a distance to climb. I would say it's maybe about 5 feet from the hole to the... Well, it is elevated there. So I'd say it's actually more like 8 or 10 feet.
Okay.
But I think it's climbable, for sure. As long as you leave yourself a space large enough to get through at a moment's notice.
Screw it. I don't want to risk it. I'll kind of hand wave it. I will do it before going to sleep.
Right.
I would rather not risk our captain.
Coming back to Rubin now.
And his response is,
It's good to hear you, Rylon. We are well. We are on the river near Malkovia. Talstar in 6 days.
also, what did you mean and it cuts off because that's 25 words.
He did message you twice.
So you can send
Oh.
50 total.
What did you mean the second one cuts off, and then, or the first one cuts off, and then the second one,
By my father. Did you meet him? Where are you? Can you please message us again?
and that'll be the conclusion of it.
Okay. then I think it's safe to say that, and I mean, unless you go and tell the others, like, that might be something you want to tell Gabriel. That's up to you. I don't know.
Yeah. He quickly after, he's a little confused because I don't know. Apparently, Rylon's
it's hitting
God.
you out of
First
nowhere.
time, huh?
Yeah, he was just praying, and then immediately Rylon popped into his head. So,
My
he's
new god now.
Yeah, he's my new god. He's gonna kind of jog over towards Gabriel afterwards. He kind of gets up, little pep in his step, quite a bit happy to be hearing from his friend again, and jogs to the other side of the ship. Gabriel.
I look towards you, seeming a bit more jovial than usual. Raise an eyebrow.
He doesn't look like he wants to die at the moment.
Rare.
I just got a moment from Rylon. A message, sorry.
Ah, I remember I got one a few days ago. How is he?
Well, he sounded happy, laughed, said he met my father and asked how we're doing. Not entirely sure what he meant by that. But
Speaker Quarren, what is he doing there?
I don't know. Perhaps they are no longer in Novostoya.
Where are they? Did he say?
No, but I asked him that in my reply.
I nod. Any other information or words?
He said he's been praying for us, and
I would imagine so. Well, we could be doing worse, I suppose. We are alive for now.
that's what I told him, in a few words or less.
Did he... Well, I suppose next time you get a message from him, you need to ask him if he will come to Talastar to join us, or if it does not permit, then we will do it on our own.
Yes, I told him we were on the river, headed to Talastar, and would reach there in maybe 6 days.
I nod. I give a little smile as well. Good to know they are still alive.
Yeah, quite.
Well,
he hope to hear from Halifax as well.
With how Rylon sounded the last time, I do not think we will. At least not for a long time. It will be up to Halifax himself to get himself out of wherever he is now.
And he looks a little bit more
But
soft.
the little halfling has always been crafty, if nothing else. He will figure a way.
I'm sure. I just wanted to let you know.
I nod again and kind of like a smile that says thank you.
And Rubin smiles back and turns and heads off to the front of the ship again.
Tamacti, you would perhaps notice, entirely up to you if you decide to do something with this information, but I think that it would occur to you that Belfour has not yet come back up from downstairs.
Damn, he fell back asleep.
Tamacti will cast message. Belfour, this is Tamacti. Are you alright down there? Just want to make sure you didn't fall asleep again. You can respond to this. No reply.
Nothing.
Well, send me in, Chief.
What the hell? Gabriel, I called down.
I look up towards the mast.
Belfour was supposed to come back up by now, and he didn't respond to a message I just sent. Make sure everything's okay.
I give you a thumbs up, and I start heading towards the stairs. Keep an eye on our captain.
Always.
I will head down the staircase.
And replacing Gabriel at the back, Rubin's just going to make his way from the front and stand next to... Is it Weasel that's now driving
Yes,
again? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to stand next to Weasel just in case,
Shit, I don't think that I got enough sleep.
I don't think any of us did. It's hard to tell.
Except me.
You see him nodding a little bit, like blinking. His head jerks back up. He blinks a few times, trying to make his eyes wide. We come downstairs to Gabriel.
Excellent.
You hear a lot of snoring down here, a lot of gentle breathing. The whole second floor of the ship is pretty much asleep. And you feel the ship slow down just a little bit. I think it's not like it throws you off your balance or anything like that, but it's definitely
Enough
a
of a
noticeable
shift.
change of direction. Yeah, it's a change of direction that is noticeable. Like just not as much forward momentum.
Okay.
And that everyone down here is sleeping cozily.
And, damn, what's his name again? Other big guy.
Belfour?
Belfour.
Belfour.
No sign of Belfour as I'm looking around?
So hold on, you just said that there's a noticeable drop-off in speed?
It's like It's like, you know how when a car is decelerating,
it pulls
like
you
as
forward a
if,
little bit.
as if all the people downstairs had suddenly stopped rowing.
it's not like the brakes were slammed. It's like a couple, maybe it feels like maybe 20% of people.
He would
stopped
point at
rowing.
you. I got you. I will head down the stairs again, because that's where the rowers would be. I assume first. I don't see Belfour around on this. Like when I'm looking around quickly.
Well, on your way over there, make a perception for me.
Sure. 19.
A 19. You hear kind of like a wet sort of lapping or like a squelch. It's behind a few of the hammocks on your way towards the stairs that are the front of the ship that lead down to the lowest deck.
Okay.
So you would have to kind of maneuver through some of the hammocks to get to the sound. You see that Belfour has his left hand on the back of one of the other crewmen's necks.
Yep.
And his front hand is like down near his stomach, like the crewman's stomach, and it appears like he's just talking to him, like it's just like, you know, got his hand on.
Do I hear
back
any
of this guy's neck.
replies from that man? Like another voice than Belfour?
You do not.
Okay. I'll get close enough to like be right behind Belfour pretty much.
You see that his hand is covered in a dark liquid.
Does that dark liquid look like blood?
It looks like his hand down by the man's gut is covered in blood.
Damn it.
Does the man seem dead?
He does.
Okay.
You can see like one of his intestines like barely sort of like looping out of a wound.
I will whisper, kind of, well, not whisper, but talk in a quiet voice. I will give you one chance to explain.
He turns his head over.
I keep my
like-
hand on his shoulder. I'm like, do not turn your body.
He doesn't turn his body, he just turns his head. He just turns his head to like kind of side eye you. And you see that one of his, the one eye that you can
Right.
see as he's side eyeing you, is glowing sort of a very, very faint red. It's not like a glow stick, but it's definitely visible.
Have
in the
I ever
darkness.
seen vampires in my time?
I don't think so.
Fair enough.
Oh no, wait. The fucking dude we met at work. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mhm. You guys did meet
true. We did.
Oscar
Dude,
Runecrest.
does it
Yeah,
seem
Oscar
similar
Runecrest,
whatsoever? I don't know if Oscar's like his eyes were any. I didn't really notice or ask back then. I suppose.
His eyes did not glow or anything like that. They were red.
Well, this one just fed, so I'm banking on that right now.
His mouth isn't like covered in blood or anything like that.
Okay, fair enough.
But he does like turn to side eye you.
There's nothing to explain. Tamacti was a fool for trusting that we would not fulfill our loyalty to our faithful lord.
That motherfucker.
Then I will fulfill mine and decapitate you here. And I will literally punch the fuck out of him at the back of
He
his head.
immediately like jerks up like as you're saying this. As a
I
response,
scream.
he like jerks up and tries. He's a big guy, but I know you have a high
I'm
strength.
big,
You have a really high
fucker.
strength, so I'm gonna have a contesting.
Let's go,
He's
dude.
gonna try and like
Let's
just
fucking-
tackle you to the ground. It's gonna be a contesting athletics.
Athletics. This is the two big guys throwing down. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been wanting to kill this guy. 21. Not as good as it could have been.
Oh, a 23.
He got my
Damn.
ass.
He like pushes up, and as he like pushes up and you go to rear back, you're able to get one hit off on his face, but he just kind of powers right through it and just puts his whole weight on you, tackling you onto the ground, and he rears up to try and hit you. I'm not gonna make us roll for anything yet.
Sure, go ahead. That's all cool with free. I'm cool with free
The
form.
ship does sort of lose a little bit more momentum,
Oh, they're fucking killing them all.
and
Jesus Christ. I hate your slaves, man. Maybe there was a good reason they were slaves after all. Maybe it was justified.
things are about to get
They're
wild.
evil as fuck.
And so he's still wearing like this half plate, very red and just evil looking, barbs on the shoulders and you know spikes coming out of it and stuff like that.
It looks evil.
It does. And he puts his whole weight on you and he rears up and he goes to punch, but he misses as the momentum slows down a little bit more and his fist like crushes into the side next to your head. I think
I try to grab his arm if possible and kind of flip him around my body or over top me. So he's not on top of me anymore.
okay. This is the only roll I'm going to ask from you before we get to Tamacti
Sure.
and Rubin to see if they're doing anything. Make an athletics for me.
Yes, sir.
26. Okay, I'd say that beats the DC I had in mind. And so you're able to do what were you doing?
Essentially, I'm trying to like, he punches next to me and my head kind of like sidesteps it and like his fist digs into the ground. And I do like a judo pose pretty much to grab him like around his arm and his neck and just turn us around so we're both like laying side to side next to each other. He's not on top of me anymore.
Excellent. Awesome. That's so awesome.
I will spill your guts and send them back to your fucking god.
So it's just a kind of like your knee-jerk reaction, both Rubin and Tamacti, and then kind of what you would be doing for the next X amount of time before we get back to Gabriel. Because this is all happening in like a flash moment between Gabriel and, fights don't really last very long. They're done very quickly. And so what is your kind of knee-jerk reaction? First Tamacti, then Rubin.
Well, do I hear the scream?
I think you do. It's clearly Gabriel's voice. It's a little bit muffled perhaps, but it's him screaming. So
I don't scream off.
I immediately like basically dive off the perch and like fly down to like the opening to like the lower deck.
Okay.
And I'll go as far in as I can.
Okay, and you're just trying to get to that source. Rubin, what about you?
And I mean, of course, as soon as he hears and recognizes Gabriel's voice screaming, without knowing that Tamacti's diving down, he's also like turns from Weasel, nods to him, and starts running down these steps, vaulting over the railing there to try and get down to the stern.
And as you vault over and you're running past Weasel, you do see that he's still struggling to stay awake. But you start making your way that way. And so after both Balfour and Gabriel have kind of been turned on their side, Balfour is like shouting back at you, "You're on the wrong side! They're all fucking monsters!" And he just kind of like reaches out both of his arms to try and grab onto your neck. It's gonna be, I think, a contesting athletics
again. Sounds good, bros. 22.
A 26.
Damn, this guy's just rolling.
Yeah, you got a 22,
Sure,
you got a 26. He grabs onto your neck and he starts just squeezing as hard as he can. What is your, how long can you survive without oxygen?
I think it's like my constitution modifier in minutes or something.
I think it's something like that, yeah.
So like, I have a 3 constitution mod, so it would be like 3 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know the rule, but
We'll just quick check it really
I think
really
that's
quick,
what it is.
It does matter in this instance, so.
Sounds good.
A creature can hold its breath for a number of minutes equal to 1 plus its constitution modifier, minimum 30 seconds.
So 4 then.
So you're just.
So I got 4 minutes.
You're being choked, and like in response to him like choking you, are you trying to do anything specific?
Well, how is my body like against him? Like, what's my leverage that I'm obviously gonna try to punch him.
I think
somewhere.
he's arms spread out, so like full like locked arms, locked elbows, just both hands clutched around your neck.
I will try to, if I'm like, because I'm like leaned up, I guess, against him if he's choking me. I will try to just punch him like on the side of the legs, like a spot where you can really block.
Okay.
About like turning his body. Like in that weak spot where like the kneecap is on the side there.
Using this only as an indicator of how solid of a blow you get, I roll your unarmed strike damage. Just as an
damage?
Just as an indicator to see like how like dead on you hit him.
I think my damage is just to roll a d4 plus my strength, so my strength is 5, so that'll be decent.
6. That's a pretty good unarmed strike, I would say. So you kind of hit him in the side of the leg, and you can feel his clutch like get a little bit harder, but his leg just gets really uncomfortable all of a sudden. You can see it kind of like cramping up or something, like a Charlie horse that you just nailed on the side. And I think at that time, Tamacti, you make it to the bottom of the stairs, and you hear this conflict going on. Rubin is just close behind your heels. You're both like thud, 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 thud down the stairs, and you can hear this conflict going on, and everyone else is asleep, like dead asleep. This is not waking them up.
Tamacti runs downstairs, sees what's going on, sees us sort of struggling. Where are the other 2?
I just point down the stairs. I'm being choked. I can't talk.
Tamacti shoulders his rifle, pulls out his 2 pistols, and storms down the stairs to the bottom deck.
Okay. What about Rubin?
Well, Rubin comes in.
Monster killer, it's your time.
He's gonna level a crossbow and shoot this guy that's on top of Gabriel.
I just want you to make the roll and tell me where you're exactly kind of trying. Are you just trying to wound him? Or are you trying to actually kill him?
Oh, I'm trying to kill him.
Okay, make a roll.
No one.
Yeah, me and Rubin are killers, bro.
no one fucks with my boy and lives to tell the tale.
That's my fucking guy.
So 13.
As they're kind of rustling around, I set a DC in my head for 15.
Ah, damn.
So the first bolt misses. You can hear it kind of like rattle as it thuds against a pole, kind of out of sight. It didn't collide into anyone, so that's a good one. It didn't like hit any other bystander, but it definitely missed. And so, what do you reload, or do you just like
he's
rush?
just gonna run up and stab him.
Okay.
he's
Before we
like
get to
curses to himself, throws the hand crossbow, and just starts sprinting.
Before we get to that stab, then, thud, 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 down the stairs, Tamacti with your rifle. You said, right?
No, shouldering my rifle and pulling my 2 pistols.
Oh,
out.
got it. Okay, yes. Thud, 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 down the stairs, and you see illuminated by the lanterns, just maybe about 30 or 40% of these individuals are slumped down onto the floor
Fuck
of
me,
the
they're
ship.
working fast. Do I see Lanya and Sasha?
2 of which are Lanya and Sasha.
They're on the floor, slumped.
Mm-hmm. And there's no blood.
What the hell have you done?
Suddenly, the ship jerks to the side, as if the wheel has just been turned, and is on it's like a sudden movement, and so everything sort of sways to the left side of the ship. If you're standing up, I would require a acrobatics check.
Can I say that because I'm in sort of the door opening of the stairwell, I can brace myself against the casing of the door?
Sure.
Do you still want me to make the roll, or
At advantage.
Okay.
A 20 from you and a 20 from Rubin. So both of you are able to keep your footing. Rubin's still running over, about to stab Belfour, and you see that everyone down here is kind of like nodding off. And you see another person in front of you as the ship jerks, just kind of like topple out of their seat and onto the floor. A few of the heads just kind of slowly nodding and flicking back up and nodding.
Tamacti's going to observe. Does it look like Lanya and Sasha, are they sitting at the benches, like slumped at the benches, like they were in the middle of rowing when they...
Yeah, you see that that Sasha was closest to the wall, and he's sort of like slumped over the oar that he was holding on to. Lanya, who is sitting right next to him, is down on the floor, like in the walkway.
That rat fuck is killing his own guy. Okay. Well, I feel less bad now. I was at least attached to Belfour. We can cut his head off and salt the earth where we burn his body.
Don't worry. Don't need to tell me twice. He's dying here.
Okay.
I'm about to go 8 mode.
Tamacti's going to Misty Step back up to the 2nd floor to save time. That's a bonus action.
Okay.
So Tamacti's going to appear. Let me make sure that I can see. Never mind. I won't do that then. So I'll just run. Tamacti will just run back upstairs.
Okay. By the time you run back up the stairs, Waffle.
I take one action before I do.
Sure.
Tamacti's going to aim at Belfour and using one of his trick shots. He's going to attempt to. So it's called leg shot. It says on a hit, the target must make a con saving throw or fall prone. I'm trying to sort of like knock him off of. Because he's on top of Gabriel right now, right?
No, they're like both side by side on the ground.
We're both standing up. Yeah.
But he's choking him.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they're both side by side, like laying down on the ground, and Belfour has his arm stretched out forward, and Gabriel's like punching him in the leg over and over. And you can see Rubin is trying to close the gap. He's got, what did he have drawn? Like his kind of slithering dagger?
Yeah, he's just got his dagger in his hand.
Okay. And you see Rubin just running that way.
Okay, all right. I have a question for you.
Yes.
So arm shot on a hit. The target must make a Constitution saving throw or drop a single held item of your choice. Can the held item of my choice be Gabriel's neck?
Yes, I would say so.
I'm going to attempt to make an arm shot on Belfour here. Let me go ahead and roll that up. The 20?
20 hits. That beats my DC. Because we're not going by like an AC right now. We're really just going by a DC.
Okay.
And so that hits, and you see him like his arm.
He needs to make a con saving throw.
I'm not really going to. I'm kind of going by roleplay right now.
Okay, sure.
You see his arm kind of like recoil and crinkle up, and he lets go and clutches onto the wrist of that hand with his other free arm, letting go entirely of Gabriel. And Rubin by now closes the gap and can strike against Belfour. I think the most notable thing is you see the flash from this black powder pistol, and you see that nobody moves on the 2nd floor. Everyone is still sleeping, kind of where they are.
God damn.
But Rubin, you close this gap. I'm going to allow you to make an attack at advantage, considering that he's prone on the ground.
Sounds good to me. A 20.
A
Not
20.
natural.
And how do you dispatch of him?
He just kind of runs up and dives into him and just stabs him right in the neck.
Okay.
You know, he's just trying to get to him as quickly as he can.
You hear the slice of his neck as the blade pierces it, and the slithering sort of nature of the blade just kind of makes the wound wider on both sides simultaneously. You hear the thud of the dagger into the wood behind his neck, and he's like suddenly letting go of his hand and clutching both of his hands onto his neck and looking up to you with desperate eyes, blood already forming in his mouth. And he's gurgling out this blood and trying to reach for you desperately, and he pulls himself free from the prone position or supine position. This dagger still in his neck, and he's trying to reach for you to just grab onto you.
Can I try and like knock his hand out of the way and stab him again?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's what I'm gonna try and do.
Don't need to, bro. I'll do it. If you allow me, since he's been doing that. I'll leap up from my prone position and like just dig the dagger deeper in his neck.
Okay, yeah. I would totally allow that. We're just going by some
and
roleplay
knock
right
him
now.
down on the floor. Like I see you, like Waffle, kind of stab him and like take a step back, and then he's trying to reach you like some dead motherfucker. So I'll make him dead. I'll make him past tense.
Tamacti will close the distance at this point.
The ship has also still been turning, and all of a sudden the momentum stops entirely as the ship smashes into land.
Fuck.
There's no rushing water down low, but the ship is definitely beached.
Is Belfort dead?
Belfort's dead, yeah.
Like as I see the life, leave his eyes, I'm like, I told you I would cut your fucking head. And I will proceed to do just that.
He's still using Rubin's
twirling the dagger around to just slice his neck open to free the
I
head.
imagine Rubin's hand's still on it, so you're just fucking you're like guiding his arm.
At this point, I'm like, I forgot you're there. I'm like in total like beast mode.
Like he's seeing red.
He's in a blood rage.
Gabriel,
I kind of turn.
enough. We need to get back up top, figure out what happened to the ship. He's dead. We'll deal with this later.
I pull the dagger out of his neck and I toss it back to Rubin.
And his hand was already on it, too.
What of downstairs?
I don't know if they're sleeping or dead, but seems like we beached.
He told you were before. He said Tamacti was a fool to trust we would not do the wishes of our Lord. You take that as you will. If you will not do anything about it, I will question your two friends.
The other two downstairs are in the same predicament as the rest of...
Could be a ruse. Never trust these gods and their games. Interrogate them or I will.
Get back upstairs, figure out what's happening now.
I run up the stairs.
Okay. And the nature of the running river, right, and the ship being beached, as it beaches into it, it sort of then turns to like parallel with the river as the water's sort of turning it to be like right up against the side.
Or a screw.
You make your way up to the top, and you see the other ships are just passing you by.
Like leaving us?
Yeah, the second one's already gone, the third one's already gone, the fourth one is
I
just
look
now
on the
passing.
docks. I look on the decks. Are there people there? Like awake?
They're awake. It's like they don't even notice you.
Stop! I like yell at them. Like, does anyone notice them yelling?
No one turns to look. The people at the helm.
How far is the
guards.
gap between me and the first ship?
The river's wider here. It's maybe 40 feet.
Fuck me.
Is the sign glowing at all?
It's not.
And Rubin makes his way to the top deck by Gabriel now. He's a bit slower.
They are leaving us. They're not even.
Leaving?
The fourth one is gone. The fifth one is passing by.
I point to the ships.
And he looks over, watching them just sail by.
I've screamed at them. They do not seem to notice.
How far is it from us to the ships?
40.
40
says 40 feet
The
about.
fifth one passes you. The sixth one is now starting to pass you.
Shit.
What's up, bro?
I can't make a 40-foot jump.
What if I threw you?
I'm gonna cast. Oh shit.
Can't catch, bro.
I just realized Rubin's like Rubin reaches onto Gabriel's arm and like he's like
What the fuck are you doing?
and he pauses.
Damn these spells.
The sixth one passes you. And they all are getting further from you now. The lanterns from the back of the second and third ships are like glittering stars in the distance, fading into the darkness.
We need to get Tamacti. He can fly after them.
Go.
And he nods and immediately takes off down the stairs.
I go and I run towards where Weasel was to see if he's still alive.
He's asleep, like just slumped against the wheel, and he in
Shake him hard.
Nothing happens. But before
I
we
slap
continue,
him on the fucking face.
as you slap him, I want to come over to Tamacti.
Mm-hmm.
During their kind of upstairs like realization that these ships are passing you by, what were you doing?
Heading down to the bottom deck.
Okay, and you see that everyone downstairs is sleeping.
Sleeping?
They're
I'll
breathing.
go. Sorry, you said they're breathing?
Yeah.
Well, thank God for that, at least.
What do you
Man.
Just can't fucking win.
Yeah, this sucks. Oh no! I'm gonna cast Detect Magic. See if I can't find the source of whatever it is that's affecting these people.
Ooh, I like that actually. And what floor are you on? The second one?
Yeah. So I'll start on the second floor. Basically, I'm like next to Belfour's body at this point. So I'll cast it sort of there, and then I'll walk my way, from that side of the ship to the other, and then down to the third floor.
Okay. Can you please toss the detect magic into the thing so I can read it really quick?
I can indeed.
Thank
Maybe
you.
Waffle, in hindsight, we shouldn't have been killers, but it was pretty satisfying to kill this dude. I don't regret
I
it.
mean, that's just the nature of our characters,
True. We're just killers.
For the duration, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creatures or objects in the aura that bears magic, and you can learn the school of magic, if any. Right. You sense 3 origins of magic. One of them is directly 2 feet in front of you. The other one is about 10 feet to your left, and the third one is about 15 feet to your right.
Okay, what's the one in front of me? Is that Belfour?
It doesn't matter where you're facing. You still sense these presences in the same directions, in the same distances, no matter where you go on the second floor of the ship, no matter what way you're looking.
Do they stay? What are we in, a fucking illusory world or something?
This is
We
like
just stepped
we're in
into the Bermuda Triangle, bro.
We're in the 5th level of the dream right now in Inception. I'm on the snowmobile in the level up above.
very confused.
Would he hear Rubin shouting, by the way, like his name as he's running down the stairs?
I would like to add some music now that we
And suddenly, I no longer exist.
Come on, play the Aeon one.
Neener.
Got it.
He's playing it. He's literally
Yeah,
playing it.
You see me look up at the camera.
You were the worst.
You feel these presences of magic in the same places, in the same directions, no matter where you're facing, no matter where you're on the second floor of the ship. It's really any of you guys at this point. What are you doing?
I'm gonna cast Protection from Evil and Good upon myself, which grants me several benefits. So creatures of the types listed have disadvantage on attack rolls against the target. It gave me the target cannot be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them. If the target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed by such a creature, the target has advantage on any saving throws against the relevant effect. Such a good track.
I'm
struggling
to wrap my head around this spell right now.
For the listeners at home, we're listening to the soundtrack from the 2018 film Annihilation. Highly recommended.
Very good movie.
With Natalie Portman. in it,
Unfortunately-
and a couple other that I don't remember.
So that we don't get slapped with all manner of copyright claims,
You
we'll
will
have
not
to.
be hearing this.
Yes. Sadly.
But you can
Although-
listen along at home.
Yeah, we can pretend. Just mute the podcast right now, listen to the song, and pretend.
Protected against aberrations, celestial, elemental, fey fiends, undead.
I got him, boys.
I hate this place. We're crashed on the goddamn beach and we're lost now. We'll never get back to them.
It's
We're not lost, we're in Normandy.
Your protection from good and evil does nothing.
dang it! I really thought I was gonna
You were
see
saying-
beyond the veil.
Oh, I thought you were too.
Ruben's still shouting as he's running down the stairs.
Tamacti!
Tamacti looks up.
We need you. Top deck. Now.
Tamacti shakes his head. It does not matter. We...
The ships just left us behind.
I'm not quite sure that the ship's left us behind so much as we have left them behind. Come, walk with me. I will explain upstairs.
You can
This is sick.
you can see that he is absolutely confused.
As you see as like I'm walking, I'm just gonna like say for the sake of roleplay the detect magic is sort of like lighting Tamakti's eyes up with like sort of this just faint blue light, like
Love it.
Gotcha. Okay.
sort of the same color as like the I don't know, like the bluish
I like
highlights
that.
in his hair and stuff. It's sort of like Tamakti's character color, you know.
It's kind of like the eyes from Cyberpunk 2077 when the characters read chips. That's sick.
yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about that terrible game. Anyway, so Tamacti like walks towards you from the darkness, and as he gets closer, you can see his eyes are sort of like looking around. And I'm assuming I'm still seeing these like 3 auras in front of me.
Yeah, one is just consistently in front of you, and then one's to the left, one's to the right, 10 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet.
And they're not moving at all.
They're not. They follow you up to the 3rd floor. Or top deck, I mean.
I see.
Does he explain anything on the way? Or no?
As we get upstairs, I'll walk over to Gabriel. And I assume that
Rubin follows.
Rubin follows.
I'm clutching the side railing of the ship, essentially almost tearing it apart at this point with how tightly I am
just
doing so.
Rage. And the 6th ship is now just barely visible along the river, about to follow around behind some trees where all the others have disappeared from.
We are trapped in something.
I am believing to understand.
I detect 3 distinct auras of magic here, here, and here. Tamacti would point them out. No matter where I look, where I turn, they are there. We are trapped in an illusion or a demi-plane, or I am not sure what, but I have exhausted all immediate options available to me.
I look at you in the way that's like, dude, if you're out a solution, then like I'm down bad.
I have but only one choice left. Tamacti pulls out.
Which is what?
Tamacti pulls out a small mirror that he's used once before.
I look at you.
And Rubin's also
never seen
looking
that.
like, what the
He
fuck?
crouches down. Do one of you? I guess there's torches about, right?
There are on the sides of the ship.
He's gonna walk over to one of the torches to try and catch some light in it, so that the light's sort of radiating in the center. And as you'll recall, this mirror has 3 distinct sort of emblems etched at 3 points in like a triangle.
I do remember.
Tamacti will sort of whisper into it, I am going to attempt to fire at these 3 points of magic. Will this result in tragedy? He whispers into the mirror. And then I'll just cast the spell so you can sort of see.
Yeah, I
what it
vaguely
does.
remember it.
So it's called augury.
Okay. And
So-
I offer you back wheel, woe, or wheel and woe, right?
Or nothing. Yeah. So nothing, I would assume the light just stays in place. Wheel and woe, it'll sort of dance between the two.
Between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you speak these words into the mirror, and the light is sort of captured in it, you see the light slowly sort of change color to a teal and drift towards the word wheel, meaning good tidings.
He stays staring at it for a second to see if it moves at all.
It doesn't, no matter how long you stare at it.
I see. Thank you. And Tamacti will then pocket the mirror. And you two are probably just like, is he talking to a mirror right now?
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, is probably not the strangest thing you guys have
No, it's not the strangest thing we've
Honestly, they've both done weirder shit. So.
Then Tamacti will stand up, straighten himself, and then gesture to Rubin. Rubin, come here. You as well, Gabriel. To me. Stand right next to me.
And
I do
and
so.
he stands where directed. Still looking a little bit confused.
And then Tamacti is going to proceed to sort of guide them to stand right next to the 2 further sort of magical auras. He'll direct Gabriel to the one on the left and Rubin to the one on the right, so that they're basically standing right next to them in his field of vision.
All right, what now?
I do that.
Then Tamacti is going to pull out his punch dagger, which he hasn't used in a while.
Okay.
You two pull out your striking weapons.
And Rubin already still has
I
his
do
dagger in his hand.
On the count of 3, the 2 of you and myself are going to strike forward. You 2 will appear to be striking the air, but I hope this will do something.
I nod, and I just get ready in like a low stance, like I'm about to do a whirlwind, just strike all around me. Fuck it.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Yes.
Very well. 1, 2, now!
Stab.
And I do that.
Okay, I need from the 3 of you wisdom saves. I have a DC in mind.
Sounds good, bro. Check me out real quick. Nat 20 coming right up. 6.
6. Yeah. 24 from Rubin.
Nat 20 coming right up.
Does my protection from good and evil help in any way?
It does not in this case.
Diggity dang it! Okay.
Gosh diggity darn it.
19.
Ooh.
A 19. And we will get right back to the results of those rolls after a quick 5.
Commercial break.
Hey, we're back. So our 3 wisdom save rolls. A 6, a 24, and a 19. Our 24 from Rubin and our 19 from Tamacti. And Tamacti had a punch dagger drawn and Rubin had a what?
He just had his, like, slithering dagger.
Okay, and Gabriel, you were grabbing your sword?
Yeah, I was attacking at where Tamacti had requested.
As you reach over your back to grab the sword. Or
It's not there.
Was it still in your hand? Sorry, I should have clarified first. Was it in your hand already, or?
No, because I didn't draw my sword to fight the big guy.
Yeah.
Like, it was on my back the whole time.
So you go to reach for your sword and it's there. And as you go to draw it, your arm kind of like gets hung up. There's like an unearthly amount of resistance in drawing your sword to
Damn.
fight this target. And it's like just a mental block and you cannot get past it. But Rubin, you strike forward with your dagger. Tamacti does the same with his punching dagger. And your hands immediately start to feel warmth rush over them.
Of blood.
Of blood.
And Rubin just starts yanking up. You know, he's trying to do maximum damage. He doesn't know what this is.
The 2 of you come out immediately, like your eyes open all of a sudden again. Everything around you is shifted. You're somewhere else. You're in a different place. You're down where you were sleeping, and your daggers are punched into. Rubin's is in through the side, the temple of this creature, and Tamacti's is right into the side of the throat of this other one. And they're humanoid creatures with arms coming out from their backs and their sides. They have 4 eyes that are sort of like a glowing orange or sort of green, and their mouths are just rode with.
Would this be familiar to myself and Gabriel?
It's immediately familiar to you.
Yeah, okay.
Gabriel doesn't know what's
I'm
going
still in the dream. I'm screaming in rage because I can't lift
I know
my
what this is.
And you see that like one hand, like these things have like 8 arms each, and one arm is stretched out to each person around them, like just random individuals on the 2nd floor,
Jesus.
and like onto Balfour and Sasha and Lanya and Tamacti. It like recoils and kind of like stutter steps a little bit before like faltering onto one knee and then down onto one hand, catching itself, one of its many arms, like clutching onto its neck.
Tamacti looks up. Does he see the one that's like fucking with Gabriel?
It would be, where was Gabriel sleeping again?
Because if it was as you described it, they were all sort of in the same plane, right? Like that, or I should say the same level.
They were all on the same level, on the same floor. I just can't remember. I'm already blanking on it. If Gabriel went back into the bunks.
I slept in the room. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
In our room.
So there's a door between you and Gabriel.
But I see the one that Rubin is just dispatched. I assume.
Yeah, the one that Rubin is dispatched is about 15 feet to your right,
Okay.
and the one that you are engaging is directly in front of you. And then there's still that sort of 10 feet to your left, behind that door, there's that magical aura that is no longer present because you were in a dream.
Mm-hmm. I knew it. I snapped my fingers to get Rubin's attention.
And Rubin like takes out his dagger and stabs the thing again, you know, just to make sure, and looks up.
I hold a finger over my mouth, then I gesture for him to go upstairs.
And he nods and once more unsheathes the dagger from this creature and starts creeping his way up the stairs.
And then Tamacti is going to take the punch dagger in one hand, his one of his flintlock pistols in the other, and then creep to where he would have known the other presence to be.
Mm-hmm. And Lanya, just for kind of like sort of around you guys situational awareness, people are still sleeping. It's like the people that were on top on their shift. If this was a dream and was happening kind of like in the normal sort of long rest length, then the people on top had no reason to come down low, and the people down low had no reason to come up. And so, who knows how long these things have been here? Lanya and Sasha and Belfort look like they're all battling with nightmares of their own, and they're kind of like, their faces are wrinkled up and sort of scrunched up.
Yeah.
But this thing is collapsed onto the ground next to you, as is the one that was over by Rubin, and you make way for the door. You're at the door, and Rubin is making his way upstairs.
I'm going to sort of count down, like 3, 2, 1. And then Tamakti's going to kick the door open if he can, or throw the door open. He won't kick it open. He'll is there a knob?
There is a sort of handle.
Okay, like a latch handle, or just like...
It's like a handle with one of those little thumb kind of things that you just press down and, unlocks the door.
And Tamacti will sort of silently kind of pull that latch, depress that latch, and then on the count of 3, we'll fling the door open.
Okay. As you fling the door open, the first thing that you see is the silhouette of this creature, because the lanterns were shattered on the backside of the ship. And so you see this open hole and the silhouette of this creature, as the ship behind you guys isn't close enough to like really see this thing in here, but it still has, torches on that ship, so you can see the silhouette of this creature that has one arm extended out onto each Gabriel and then like a few of the other crewmen that have been resting in this room, and it seems to be like staring at one of the crewmen, not paying attention to really anything around. But as you fling the door open, that's what you see is the silhouette of this creature, and it jerks its head to the side looking at you with like just glowing green eyes. And if you want to see what it looks like, I think that I can provide you with an image.
Yeah, as much as I would like to see what it looks like now, I'd like to see what it looks like more after I have shot a musket ball into its face.
I want to see what it looks like. I don't remember. We encountered
yeah,
those.
remember back at the beginning in the thing that was fucking with Halifax, the Dreamweaver or Dream something.
Yeah.
Dream Whisperer, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah, it looked like the weird, it had like all the arms and it was like yellowish green. Yeah.
I will toss it into D&D General 2B for you guys to see.
Whack.
Those things are spooky as shit.
Yeah, that was our first
Our first real encounter,
This is some Eldritch Horror stuff.
Yeah. And so you're just like, all right, die, shoot.
Yep, no hesitation whatsoever. As soon as Tamacti flings the door open and like is able to pick out the silhouette of it, he's aiming, we'll say center mass, not for the head. He'll aim center mass and squeeze off around.
Make that attack roll. You see it immediately start to bring its 4 free arms out in front of itself, like palms outstretched, like no, don't do it, kind of, but like also just trying to protect itself.
It's a 23.
A 23 hits, and you see the musket ball, the flash of it, and the immediate new sort of black dot that has been forced into its skin somewhere around its shoulder.
And then, sort of following that up, he's going to immediately rush forward and sort of leap into it with the punch dagger and try and drive it up sort of under its jaw.
Okay, I'm gonna need an acrobatics because it's gonna try and flee, and I want to see if you get there first.
Okay. Can I use my wings to aid me in this leap forward? Or is the space a little too tight for that?
I would say that you could. I just imagine it like your wings sort of like come into the doorway and almost like arms grabbing onto it to slingshot yourself forward, kind of,
Yeah.
So I would argue that you could use them to your benefit, yeah.
Okay.
And I'll give you advantage on that.
It's a 23.
An 18. You see it bring its hands off of the 4 sleeping people in here, the 3 of them being crewmen, and one of them being Gabriel, and it starts to scurry towards the hole that it likely came in through, and probably the others too, as they somehow got past the top of the ship, and there's no way they could have come in the bottom. And so they try and scurry away and sort of backstep and like using their arms to like grab onto everything around them and sort of like force themselves backwards, and you rush forward, vaulting yourself forward, and you said you just drive your punch dagger up underneath its neck? Or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And you do that, and the arms, all 8 of them, like go to grab onto you. One of them on like your face, one of it on like your jaw, another one on your shoulder, and then another one on your shoulder, 2 of them on your sides, one of them grabbing onto your wrist, the other one grabbing onto your elbow, and just haphazardly trying to just more so injure you, of course. Mm-hmm. Like twist your arm and just force you off of it and just squeeze the wind from you.
Does it feel like its sort of grasp is weakening?
It does.
Okay. Tamacti's
Do I wake up?
just going to sort of keep firmly, like, kind of just driving and twisting the dagger in deeper.
And the warmth comes further and further down your hand, to your wrist, to your forearm. Gabriel, you're still in kind of like a nightmare, as are the others in here. They're sort of just like tossing in their beds. And eventually, like, one of the hands sort of drops from your elbow. It's the first of the 8. And then another one, and it starts to like turn into dead weight.
Get out of our dreams! Tamacti's just going to sort of shove it off of him.
Yeah, and it falls backwards through the gap and splashes into the water. You know, the crack of your pistol drew attention. People on the second deck are rushing to the doorway, like checking everyone. What the hell is going on? Who fired the weapon? Like, people are just...
The only one with
There, Tamacti, line up!
And people are shouting, and one of them rushes into your doorway, and he's looking at you. It's Belfour. Tamacti, what the hell are you doing? What's happening? Are we under attack? And he's like, got his weapon in hand, like a little axe.
Tamacti turns and sort of eyes Belfour up and down for a second, almost letting kind of paranoia and suspicion creep in, but then he tamps it down. Some sort of night creatures had us all under a trance. Myself and Rubin managed to break free. Sweep the decks, make sure no more of them are preying upon the sleeping.
And really quickly, we're gonna pull away from that, come to Rubin, who is making his way upstairs. Rubin, this is before the crack happens, the shoot. The shot.
Yeah, he's creeping stealthily up the stairs. Dagger at the ready. He's like at a low crouch, using one hand to place on the next step as he's going up. And I guess since they were on the second deck, he'd be going to the top deck.
Yeah, sounds about right.
His immediate, like, once he reaches the top, is like peek his head out of the hatch and look to see if he sees anyone on the deck.
You do. You see a few of the other crewmen. There's maybe 3 or 4 of them kind of keeping watch. One of them at the left side of the ship, one of them at the right, one of them at the front, and probably another one just kind of like standing by the center mast, just kind of looking in all directions. There's somebody even up there in the crow's nest. And if you were to come all the way out onto the top deck, you would see that Borin, the kind of like second in command of the ship, I suppose, is at the helm.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to like kill anything he sees up there. Then he realizes it's really normal up here and sort of straightens his posture and steps out fully and turns back to look up at the wheel and sees that it is in fact man. And then he looks past, make sure they're not beached or anything.
Mm-hmm. They're not. You're front of the line, front of the column of ships, all 6 of them.
And he starts heading back down.
And that's when you hear a crack. And all of a sudden, the people on the top deck all look towards you at the stairs. And Borin looks down from over the wheel. What the hell was that?
There's night creatures below decks.
What the fuck do you mean there's night creatures on the ship?
Exactly what I just said.
You, go downstairs with him. And he like points to one of the random crewmen, and he's like already like stepping towards you, like drawing an axe from a loop at his belt. And he like kind of comes up behind you and not like forcing you downstairs, but like in a hurry. Like
as soon as the crack happened and like the conversation's done, Rubin is also kind of scurrying down.
You two come downstairs, and you see the doorway stairs. They point directly towards your guys' room when you get to the bottom. You see that the doorway is open to this the back room, and you see that there's Tamacti there with somebody already scurried over and into the doorway. It's Belfour.
And he tries to look past to see if Tamacti's struggling with anything as he darts up.
Tamacti is no longer struggling with anything, and you hear a splash in the water.
Did you get it?
Yes.
There might be some below deck, so I'm gonna check.
And Rubin's gonna run back to go down a level.
Okay, I'm gonna shorthand it. There's nothing out of the ordinary downstairs.
Gotcha. And after a quick sleep, he's just gonna return to the rest of them then.
The same crewman came along with you downstairs, and as like everything kind of seems clear, he puts a hand on your shoulder, like just like a gentle like sort of slap, and makes his way towards the stairs, going up to the top deck again, saying something along the lines of, "I'm going to go report this in."
And he nods.
Makes his way up, probably to inform Borin of what's going on. And Belfour, as Tamacti kind of like eyes him up and down and stuff like that, he pries himself from the doorway and turns around, brushing past you, Rubin, to go wake up Sasha and Lanya.
And as he turns around and he realizes, it was in fact Belfour, he wasn't really paying attention to who was in the doorway. He almost like instinctively went to stab him, but like stopped, realizing that was a fabrication of the mind, and awkwardly like steps to the side, try not to make contact with him, and then move into the room, glaring as he goes past.
Am I awake or still?
You're kind of like in a weird sort of trancey nightmare where everything is frozen
Right.
and you trying to grab that sword.
I'm in that REM sleep mode.
Kind of, yeah. But Tamakti's there next to you.
How is Gabriel?
I don't know. I haven't had a moment to check.
Meanwhile, in the dream world, I'm looking at both of you. I'm just screaming at the top.
Rubin's just gonna step up and fucking like slap Gabriel across the cheek, as he's sleeping.
Gabriel, you wake up.
I shoot up from the bed like instantly. Got it. What is it?
I believe Tamacti already killed it. We killed 2 more that were over top us.
What about your Belfort?
It was all a trick, a nightmare.
Or maybe it wasn't.
I look sternly at Gabriel. They've given me their word already. These creatures...
Well, I have learned from other humans that words don't mean shit.
These creatures preyed upon the fears, the desires, our deepest, darkest secrets. We cannot believe anything that they made us to see. But if it will make you feel better, I will talk to them again.
No, that will only raise their suspicions if they are guilty. I will keep an eye on them.
In any case, we need to patch up this hole before more things creep in.
I nod. I will go get wood.
Uh-huh.
And I step off the room.
I'll help you.
And Rubin nods to Tamacti once and steps off with Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
Probably heading below deck where they keep all that shit.
What about Tamacti? What's he do now?
Tamakti's going to look around for I guess, is there a carpenter section on the boat?
Yeah, they keep the whole repair materials down bottom deck.
Tamakti will head down, look around for a sturdy hammer, perhaps
I hate this motherfucker.
So the whole gang is just going
perhaps
downstairs.
We're all
perhaps
just
a 16
Don't say
16 ounce head with a I don't know, maybe a titanium handle.
It sounds like this guy has no idea about anything relating to
Sounds like this dude is just talking about the hammer that he has in real life.
Vulcanized rubber. If you look on the side, it would say Martinez M1. Ah, yes, this will do finely. A wonderful tool.
I hate you. As you guys walk past, you do see that Belfort is waking up Sasha and Lanya, and he's like...
I stare at him.
You overhear him saying,
Look, we're already awake. Let's just go fucking take over the shift upstairs.
and they relent, and all 3 of them go upstairs. In your dream, you remember all of this, like all 3 of you, because it's all kind of happening together. Like, you know that each other were there and experienced the same thing, and Lanya and Sasha went downstairs in that, but all 3 of them seem to be going upstairs now.
Damn, were we the only cognizant ones in this whole thing?
Why was Belfort awake in our dream?
I don't know.
And he kind of grunts a little bit, and he's staring in the same way as Gabriel.
Yeah, me and
Who
Rubin.
knows? Who knows if they were cognizant in that dream?
Me and Rubin are killers. We're just.
That's some really
I
good
see red.
curiosity, I think.
Look, man, if you haven't noticed these past few times, I'm losing my fucking
I
mind.
certainly have.
I'm losing the map, bro.
Told you I would cut your head off.
And
right.
Ruin's just gonna pick up a plank, after Tamacti finds his special made hammer or
Yeah,
whatever.
Rubin's the type of guy that only carries one. I'll carry a couple.
Yeah, he only carries one because he's not as
Tamacti
strong.
will grab one 4x164 beam.
Okay.
I grab normal ass border planks.
Hey, Rubin
Of
doesn't even know what fucking wood is.
Dimensions.
Okay.
And I will grab an unspecified hammer of unknown construction.
Yeah. What kind of nails do they?
I hate you guys. I'm gonna say that we
Do they have
shorthand this.
titanium.
Yes.
I'm gonna say that we shorthand this.
We patched the hole.
You patch the hole. It probably takes about 20 minutes. The other crew members that are in there wake up from all the banging around and just like, oh fuck it, let's just go take over shifts for everyone else. And coincidentally, about the time that you guys finish patching this hole, somebody comes down from up top, and they're actually going about, getting people to switch shifts. And so it was coincidentally around the time that the long rest would have.
So we got our sleep.
So you got your long rest, yeah. And so it's now kind of the exact time that you guys would have probably woken up, or you did in the dream, now just in real life. Any chatter that you guys would have done, they would have closed the door behind themselves as they left the room, so as to not disturb the other people that are on the second deck. So if you wanted to have any conversation here in private, you could. If you don't, though, then we move on to what happens after you guys patch the hole.
I mean,
I silently hammer.
yeah, I
at
was
the
gonna
plate.
say, I think everything that needed to be said about that has been said.
By the way, Rubin, if it was not clear to all three of you, everything in the session so far was during that.
So
yes,
the
but
message was as well?
The message, maybe it did happen, maybe it didn't.
Bruh.
You remember it. It was kind of beamed directly into your brain.
And
So-
and he sits there for a second, he's like rubbing his eyes.
I think Rylon tried to contact me.
As he's like hammering against the wood.
One of your
You told me in the dream.
one of your friends.
I know.
Yes, we used to travel with.
The other Seraph. You told me about it in the dream.
Ah.
Something about them speaking to your father.
Yes, if that was real, then that means some of the other things that happened may be real.
Like what?
Doubtful.
Not necessarily what happened, but more so their desires, or what they are truly about.
I will see what they dreamed about. A honest enough question, right?
I nod.
Fucking tap his fingers together.
I'll go with you when you do this.
You don't have any magics whatsoever anymore, do you?
No, but I'm still perfectly able to kill.
Yes, just wish there was a way for us to detect good and evil.
Yes, and were I able to cast magic, that would be something in my capabilities, but unfortunately, I'm all out of luck.
Yes, a tragedy.
Hammering the last nail on this fucking board here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I will go upstairs.
Yes. Best to do it now before they can potentially get their story straight, so to speak.
He nods. And he follows Tamacti along, letting him lead.
He'd, I guess, walk around looking for Lania, Sasha, and Belfour.
They went up the stairs.
All three of them?
They were going to take over the shift. So yes, I saw all of them go up.
Yeah, I guess we'll all head upstairs. This is great.
Okay.
Well, it is our shift anyway, so we're heading upstairs.
True.
When we get upstairs, I mean, I don't think this. I mean, there's no reason it would be. There's no candles on the front of the ship, right?
There are not.
Just
You
making
still
sure.
have your candles.
Let me change that in my inventory real quick.
Belfour is at the head of the ship. Sasha is with him, and Lania is off to the side on the left when you guys arrive at the top. And they're just kind of like looking out. Belfour and Sasha are quietly speaking to one another.
I looked to Rubin and I put a hand on his shoulder. I will take the front this time.
And he knows.
I'll stay by him.
And is Weasel back at the helm again, or is it still Boren?
Weasel is just now making his way to the helm.
As soon as this conversation's over, I'll go stand by Weasel.
Guess you were right, Waffle. Where had that been?
I was just measuring some stuff. That is
Yeah,
no
okay.
indication.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry about it, man. I saw you.
You know, I measured it out. If it's gonna take like roughly 6 days, you know, we'd probably be like here. Yeah. And then
My man.
But that's 6 days
to
pre-dark,
what here?
pre-Darkreign. There's no telling how long it's going to take us.
Well, it's true. That's only if only if something happens, and I mean, obviously, if something happens, we're not gonna get there.
Something seems to happen all the time.
Something
So.
that prevents us from sailing.
I go to the front of the ship.
Born and Weasel are at the top. Born is just filling Weasel in on coincidentally everything that he was kind of filling him in the dream, and they're both looking at the map and talking about like how far they think they made it throughout the night while Weasel is sleeping, and just kind of those general things. And so Gabriel makes it to the front of the ship. Tamacti, where are you going?
Tamacti will, I guess, search out for Belfour first.
I think
front
they're
of
at
the
the front of the ship.
At the
Yeah,
front
so
with
we're
me,
all
yeah.
also going to the
Sasha?
front.
God.
It's like this guy doesn't listen.
Don't worry. I'll get the protection detail.
We'll walk over to the front of the ship.
So seeing that Gabriel's already over there, he'll like give him a little bit of a nod and head back to the wheel.
I guess Tamacti will just stroll on up. Nod to them by way of greeting.
And I pretend to like nonchalantly stare off to the side of the ship, but I'm clearly fucking listening.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, that was something.
And Belfour just kind of like, so if you're approaching them from the perspective of you guys, they're standing basically side by side looking at each other, talking. And Balfour, as you speak up, turns to look towards the front of the ship, like out towards the water, and Sasha turns towards you, still kind of being light on his leg, kind of leaning up against the front of the ship. Yeah, I had a really fucked up, weird dream. What about you guys? Hard to rest out here, I suppose. A lot on my mind.
Same for us.
That fight must have just stuck with me or something.
What did you dream about?
It was, we were on the ship. I came up to the top to watch out from the crow's nest, and we were just being followed everywhere. And then I looked down to the ship, and everyone was gone, and they were replaced by just creatures. I was terrified. I huddled up, and I stayed in the crow's nest. I didn't make a peep.
Similar dreams for you too?
Balfour and Sasha kind of meet eyes, and Sasha looks out the water. Balfour stays facing out towards the water as well. Yeah, similar dreams.
I insight that.
Go for it.
I'd like to as well if I can.
14.
Yeah, you can insight that as well, Tamacti.
26.
Oh,
Natural
mother-
20. 26.
14 and a nat 2026. Okay.
Just say the word. Tell me he's full of shit.
It's clear that Sasha and Balfour are perhaps a bit nervous as you're asking them this question.
Yeah.
Tamacti.
By the way, only Tamacti notices this, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's not.
I
I
don't
don't really
think
know
it's
them
fair.
that well, so. Okay, I just keep staring off in the water then, just like them.
You know, it's funny. Tamacti would sort of, he'd be looking around like idly, or appear to be kind of idly looking around, but he'd sort of, for just a moment, like lock eyes with him, lock eyes with Gabriel. We had quite a horrible dream ourselves. It's strange that, well, we would have different dreams, seeing as Rubin, Gabriel, and I all shared the same one.
Yeah, that's
But
strange.
these night creatures, right? Who's to say?
Yeah, who's to say?
He's being kind of short. Keeps looking out of the water.
I turned to look at Lanya.
She's kind of glancing your way. You catch her looking at you, and the moment that you turn to look at her, she looks away.
She doesn't seem
Yeah.
to have been part of the line crew. Go talk to her. I'll keep an eye on these two. Just say the word. I will decimate.
No, there ain't no fucking subterfuge with Tamacti. I look at her openly. Will you carry on with this subterfuge as well, Lanya?
She turns to look back at you again.
I have been alive for 200 years. I have lied and been lied to more times than I can remember. I will not be fooled now. Now tell me, what did you dream of?
Both Weasel and Boren at the helm are looking down now away from the map, and both looking down at Tamacti, shouting in curiosity.
My hands are ready. Like, my hands are on the railing, but I'm ready to pounce like a fucking animal at this
Yeah, Rubin just assures Boren and Weasel it's nothing, and stands there beside them.
Lanya looks at you, Tamacti, and then to Sasha, who is also now looking at her, and Balfour, who is also now looking at her, and then back to you. Sasha and I went down to the bottom deck. We were rowing. I don't remember much after that. The dream is a blur. And Balfour, I don't remember what he was doing.
But
I
Balfour
looked to Balfour.
remembers well enough, don't you?
My hands were tied. I don't know why I was doing what I was.
It isn't because of a promise you made to your god.
I don't worship anyone. I told Tamacti this already.
What about the one who gave you your fucking armor?
What, that stupid puppet?
I want to trust you three more than anything, believe me. Help me to do so.
You can't trust us, Tamacti, says Lanya.
I look at her, sort of pleading.
Me and Balfour look like we're about to kill each other.
Balfour looks like he's about to kill you.
Or it looks like he's about to die, just like in his dream, bro.
If you truly owe no allegiance, then remove that armor and cast it into the river now.
Balfour looks
Damn.
at Gabriel with gritted teeth.
Yeah, I'm looking.
He
at
remembers what happened.
Yeah, I remember. If you want to go again, I can.
He reaches a hand up and unclasps a latch, holding one of his pauldrons onto his shoulders, and then another latch. The leather strap kind of slithers free from its clasps, and he tosses it with a sploosh into the water. A thud.
I
flash.
relax.
He reaches over with the other arm, does the same with the other one, and he looks down to Sasha and kind of side eyes towards Tamacti.
Sasha is not removing his. I forbid it. You're not going to take that from him, not until he's healed.
I give you like a nod off to the side, Tamacti. Like, if Belfort takes it off, that's good enough for me.
I can understand your reasoning. After we are done here, he and I are going to fly to Limgre's ships immediately. I do not want him down for any longer than he has to be.
Good.
Lanya,
Lanya has her arms crossed, seems a bit reluctant to take off the armor. But Belfor continues one piece at a time, and all of it sinks down, glittering from the torchlight until it descends into darkness, the pitch black of water, and the bottom of the river.
when we reach our destination, I will buy you a set nicer than that, with my own coin.
You don't need to, Tamacti. You just need to trust us.
He says, kind of a remorseful and solemn look on his face, but he's still gritting his teeth. Almost like he's the one being betrayed in this. But he tosses the armor, one piece at a time, until the plate is all that's left, and that goes too, from his half plate, you know that's what they're wearing, into the water. And it reveals kind of like a fur-lined leather belt that comes across his whole abdomen. And then he's got nothing over top of that, and he's got like kind of cloth trousers beneath it that are tucked into boots that are also fur-lined. Still with his axe, kind of, now that he doesn't have the loop from the half plate, it's sort of tucked just into his belt, this big fur belt that I was talking about. And he's got kind of like, bare forearms, bare biceps, bare upper torso, bare head, and his hair kind of comes back in a braid of black hair down the back of his neck, and his beard is kind of braided as well, and it comes down to about 3 inches below his chin.
And
he looks at you.
Body is covered in demonic tattoos.
No, it's not.
Tamacti trusts all of you. He is doing this to appease me more than anything.
Sure. And he turns to look back out of the water. We're done talking.
Head downstairs and get yourself some spare armor for now. We have plenty.
Oh, I'll survive, don't worry.
Sasha, are you ready?
Sasha looks to Belfor, kind of brings a hand up, friendly and reassuring, to place it on his shoulder. Belfor is now turned entirely out to face the front of the water, towards the front of the ship. And Belfor kind of side-eyes Sasha in like a whatever, it'll be all right kind of look, and nods once. Sasha gets the idea and turns to you, nodding once as well, saying, I think I'm ready.
All right, then let us be off.
Lanya has still had her arms crossed, has not taken off the armor or anything like that, and is just leaning up against the side of the ship watching this going on. And so you lift him and take him off?
I walk over and I'll sort of grab him, and right before I take off, I'll turn to Lanya. If you wish to speak to me alone, you may do so when I get back.
I don't.
Tamacti shrugs. Very well. And then he'll take off.
Okay. The Limgre's ship is the third in line of the sixth.
Oh,
and so it's just a short distance.
As we're flying over, you may not believe me at this moment, Sasha, but everything I do for the good of you people.
I believe you, Tamacti. He kind of says quietly, maybe not extremely audible over the sort of rushing wind of you guys flying and the flapping of your wings and the lapping of the water and the oars just rhythmically slapping and dragging through the river. But he says it. He says it.
You did not see what we saw in the dream.
By the look of things, I'm glad I didn't. And by now, you've flown far enough to reach the third ship if you'd like to land.
I'll sort of hover there for a second. Do you two suffer from the same affliction that Belfort does?
And what affliction is that?
Well, in the dream world, he appeared to be a vampire.
Sasha is just kind of quiet for a time. What?
That's what he was in the dream, right? Did I misinterpret that?
There was no blood or anything like that.
The thing is, first of all, I'm the only one that saw this. Second of all, I didn't communicate this to anyone else. And third, it was a theory. I'm not sure if he was a vampire. It looked like he was eating him, but then probably said he had no blood on his face. So it might have just been like a really...
My bad. Then Tamacti will just sweep down and land on the boat.
Tabe is there. He eagerly sort of jogs over to you.
My boy.
Tamacti, it's good to see you. It's been some time.
Yes, a few days.
I heard there was some commotion on the first ship while I was sleeping. It was attacked by a giant bat and some other creatures. The second ship too.
Yes.
Is everyone okay? Do they need me there?
More or less. I brought one of the more serious injuries. Here, he would sort of gesture to Sasha beside him. I did what rudimentary healing I could on his leg here, but I think he probably needs more qualified help if it is to return to normal.
He's nodding jaw slack, his sort of like dirty blonde hair, like sweatily plastered to his head. Sure, show me the wound. I can do what I can.
Yes, well, I'm sure that Sasha can relay that to you well enough. Now I'm gonna make Prowler RP with himself.
Are you going back to the ship?
No, I'll stay.
Oh. Well, Sasha conveys, like, and pretty much, I mean, his leg is kind of, like, wrapped right now. As they're wearing half plate, it's not like he has plate covering up the wound or anything like that, and the pants are torn away there. And so it's pretty clear where the wound is, and he just kind of gestures down with a grunt towards his leg, and Tabe sort of guides him to sit down along the nearest mast pillar. And so he sits down, leg extended, and Tabe goes about offering a gentle prayer. The radiant energy forms in his hands before extending out, wisping through the air, just the short couple inches that they need to go from his hand into Sasha's leg. And you can hear the regrowth of this muscle. Even though it sounds sickening and painful, there's kind of like a numbing sort of soothing feeling that is accompanied with it. And so Sasha just kind of like looks at it in awe, the light kind of illuminating his facial features and Tabe's as well, and probably extending to yours. And the leg is formed whole again.
Tamacti whispers under his breath as he watches the power of angels.
And Tabe didn't hear that. He was too busy praying, and I think Sasha was too busy in awe. But yeah, I that's all that I can do. Yeah, it should be enough, I'm sure. It looks normal, right? And Sasha, yeah, I think that it feels normal. Thank you. And they just kind of exchange pleasantries, you know. Is there anyone else? Should you fly me back to the ship, Tamacti?
That might not be a bad idea. I'm not sure who all was injured. There may be some unaccounted for among the crew.
At least fly me to the second ship. I heard that there were some injured there.
Okay, I will need to fly him back first. I can't carry you both.
By all means.
All right, Sasha, you ready?
He gives you a nod and offers another quiet thanks to Tabe.
And he helped pick Sasha up, sort of heft him, fireman's carry style.
Yeah.
And lift off again. And unless Sasha wants to say anything, the flight back will be quiet.
Okay. He doesn't say anything. And it's not a very long flight, but there was some time that you were kind of doing this, so I want to see what Rubin and Gabriel are doing now.
So, obviously Rubin's been at, like, the next to the helm where Weasel's now taken over. He's just been kind of sitting there, making sure he doesn't fall asleep and making sure nothing jumps him and, like, picks him off of the wheel.
Yep.
And, at some point while Weasel's, paying attention to the river and no one else is looking that way, Rubin kind of just, like, stabs at the ear in front of him just to make sure. He's a little paranoid. And,
Okay.
And, like, clears his throat and shifts his posture after nothing happens and tucks the dagger away again and just waits. And he's, like, leaning up against the railing behind him.
Right. So as the shouting ends down there from Tamacti, Boren made his way downstairs, and Weasel is there. He seems wide awake the whole time that Tamacti is gone. And as you stab through the air, nothing happens. And Weasel is just sort of like whistling quietly to himself, perhaps a nervous habit, his eyes sort of darting around to the sides where the river is slowly going back to sort of like a, not as narrow as it was when you guys were attacked, but it is narrowing a little bit to kind of how narrow it was when you guys had first entered the river. So there's kind of like a medium narrowness, which is what it's at now. When you guys were sleeping, it was at like a super wide narrowness, and while you guys were being attacked, it was at a narrow narrowness. Does that make any sense?
Okay.
So it's kind of like a medium, thickness now.
Okay. If it's a tune that Rubin knows, he'll whistle along. If it's not, then he'll just kind of sit there in the back.
Something from the north.
Then yeah, it wouldn't be something he knows. And he'll sit in the back, and he might actually take a look at his book.
Okay.
Specifically going back to their dream catcher, dream whisperer.
Dream whisperers.
Dream whisperers. Specifically going to the dream whisperers because he remembers, the last time that they had killed one is a lot more difficult, and it has been a long time. But it feels like they're missing something when they might not be. So he's just gonna read up on all the information that's there, and if anything's missing, fill it in while he waits.
Roger. I don't think that anything is missing. I think that you guys had a your first encounter with them back in session like 2 or 3,
Yeah.
I think the third session, long before the podcast even started.
Yeah.
But during that attack, I think you guys got a pretty good idea of what it was capable of. It had been stalking you guys for a couple days, and so you would probably be able to fill in your notebook. You know that they sort of infiltrate the dreams of others and sort of just feed off of that sort of dream. They have magical resistance and spider climb. It's not literally like written down as spider climb.
Yeah,
but
I gotcha.
And an aura that causes confusion to those around them, that they might confuse their friends for foes or attack their nearby allies, or just completely view the Dream Whisperers as something that isn't a threat. A whole hazard of things could go wrong when encountering one of them.
And he's gonna note down specifically about how they got out of, this dream.
You do notice something though.
Oh.
I think that you notice in fine print that you hadn't seen before, it just sort of scribbles across the bottom of the page, almost magically, something about these being related to a curse. It starts out as a curse of some sort. It doesn't detail the curse, but it starts out as a curse and culminates eventually in the humanoid figure, being a human usually, or an elf or a half-elf or something, transforming into this creature.
Okay.
That's rough.
Does it say anything about how this curse comes about?
It doesn't detail it, but it's possible that you could speak to somebody that knows more about magic. There are Clan Rune is very adept in magic.
True. How many ships back is that, though, huh?
They're the second one.
Unlike Gabriel and Tamacti, I have no way of getting from ship to ship.
They are the second.
Okay, so Rubin will just wait till Tamacti gets back then to mention that.
So you're telling me that I aced up 2 former humans?
You did.
Bummer.
They were no longer
That's-
humans, though.
That's night creatures, bro. Fuck them.
They are now classified as monstrosities, if it matters.
Ah, so that's why. I'm sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
Something called monstrosities doesn't fall under protection from...
Nope.
No, it doesn't.
No, it does
God
not.
damn.
Which is why I was like, man, that's...
Because monstrosities are technically not necessarily evil. They're kind of like beasts, like wolves or bear. They just feed. Like, that's just how they live, They don't really have a choice. It's their natural instinct. They don't do this out of,
they're not
ill
holy
intent.
or fiendish or undead or
Yeah.
anything. But that's sort of what you recollect.
Gotcha.
And your book, the pages flip all of a sudden. It's not from a gust of wind, that's for sure. There's no real wind. But the pages rustle across, and you see, starting to etch into the book, a new sort of entry. And there's a sharp pain in your neck.
And, he was in like a casual leaning pose before, so he's pretty tired, pretty beat up. So wasn't really too attentive. But as soon as that pain hits his neck, he stands up straight and reaches for it and feels around his neck.
It's from where your oath sign, your witch hunter oath sign is coming from. And it's like searing, it's burning. It's not like glowing, but you can feel like the exact outline of it almost.
That's not good.
Just searing into your neck as you gain witch hunter level 3.
Yo!
Oh,
That's awesome.
oh yeah, very painful. And Ruin's hissing is like he's trying to kind of dig his hand through the fabric to get to his neck, reaching in through his collar, the shirt or whatever he's wearing, and under his armor, and then brings it back to make sure it's not bleeding, and looks back at the book, which was writing in itself.
You see an entry form on this page that was previously blank, and the entry details a creature called an Avatar of Slaughter.
Oh.
It is depicted in an image of sort of like a Minotaur-esque type creature that is just crudely sketched in, standing atop like a mound of corpses. And it starts filling in all the details about it. Namely, it also culminates from a curse of some sort.
Oh, and
Weird.
obviously Rubin's reading all this. He's never seen his book write in itself before. Has absolutely no idea what to think of that.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to know the details?
Yeah, I do.
This one is a little bit more fleshed out than the Dream Whisperer, and it mentions that the curse originates as a wound reopening and furthers into inexplicable aggression.
Oh, fuck. I know exactly why this is being written.
Weasel turns his head over his shoulder to look at you, hearing your hissing.
Um,
Rubin, are you okay? Is everything all right?
Um,
He wants to step away from the wheel, clearly, but he doesn't.
Upon reading this, Reuben turns kind of gaunt, as realization hits him of what this is, and perhaps why it's being written in the book. And he looks back up towards Weasel with a little bit of wide eyes and nods slowly.
I'm fine. Pay attention to the river.
Okay, so all this is happening at the same time. Tamacti is flying back to the ship. This is what you're experiencing. He's carrying Sasha. Gabriel, during all this time, what have you been doing?
Staring mainly at outside at the shore. Like, how fast are we going?
You guys are traveling, if I were to put it in like a land speed, because I don't know nautical miles.
Yeah. Don't worry about me neither.
I'd say maybe 35 miles per hour.
Oh, so pretty fast.
Pretty fast.
Never
yeah.
mind then.
Pretty good pace.
Because I was gonna ask that, if
Maybe,
I were to
sorry,
jump
more like
on
25.
shore,
I think more like 25. Sorry.
Got it. Are we? Because we're on the bend. Because I wanted to go for a fucking
You don't know where you are.
run.
It's a pretty straight area right here.
Fair enough. Then I won't. We're going a little too fast for me to catch up, unless I can run at fucking 25 miles per hour on hybrid form. But probably not. I will kind of just stand there and shoot a side glance at, because I'm still at the front with Belfort. I didn't move from my position, but I will, kind of leave him alone at the front and kind of mutter as I leave, "Do not take it personally. I do not trust anyone."
Yeah, first kind of like a to you.
And I will walk more like towards the middle where our ship is more unmanned, since Belfort is the front and like Rubin's at the back.
Lanya's at the left side.
Lanya's on the left side, so I'll take the right, kind of just sit, look up at the sky, close my eyes, and go into a little meditation. Trying to maybe calm myself a little. I've been a little tilted these past few days.
For real.
Or maybe I just get more tilted.
Maybe.
I don't know. But I'm gonna try to kind of meditate onto myself and what I've done these past few days and how I've been feeling.
Anything that you want my interaction with, or?
Maybe try to go into that place that I was a few days ago when I managed to, like that beast dream where I managed to talk to my old mentor.
Yeah.
See if anything like that sparks up again. If not, then screw it.
I think that you're able to.
Fair enough. Then I will try to do that.
It takes a couple of minutes to clear your mind. There's a lot, I'm sure, to think about. But when you're finally able to like just slip free from all the just chaos and cacophony of thoughts, you find yourself in a clearing. It's like you're ankle deep in an expanse of water that goes like as far as anything really into the darkness, as far as you can see, guys. I suppose I should say. The water is silent. It's like glass. It's so perfectly still, no disturbance or anything like that. And you see the two blue moons up high in the sky looking down at you like eyes. There's no one around you.
I will transform into my hybrid shape and just start running in a direction. Since I'm like ankle deep in water and in plate armor, it would probably be fairly inefficient to try and get out of this swamp in normal form.
And you start running, and you can hear, the only sound that you hear is just the slapping of your four legs, your four paws into the water, just like rhythmic. I don't know how long you run for, but
I just keep going. That's all I wanted to do, because I wanted to get off the ship originally to go just go for a run. So that's, if that's all I can do in there, that's enough for me.
And the further that you run, you see that the darkness starts to encroach on you. Like it's less and less and less visible. And then eventually you can feel the water on your paws, but you don't see it beneath you. You cannot see even your arms or your legs. Everything is just dark. All of a sudden you smash into something. It's
kind of recoil
it's like
back.
As thick as a tree, and it's not like hitting a brick wall. You topple over with it.
Oh, okay.
And it snarls, growling at you, and sort of in the darkness, all you can see are beady amber eyes looking back at you, very canine. Who's there?
Kinda. Do I recognize the voice?
You do. It's the ghost of the stillborn, or
Oh, yes.
the white wolf.
It's me, ghost. I do not see you.
But you see my eyes, I see yours.
I nod, but since we can only see our eyes, he just sees my eyes go down and then back up.
What are you trying to get away from?
I do not know.
Everyone on the ship, I suppose. The boats. Just be alone.
You're angry.
Again, I kind of just offer like a sort of low hum in response.
I am.
Something is wrong. Tell me. What is it?
I do not know. I just so angry as of late towards everyone and everything. We have lost so much in Castalor. Despite all my best efforts, it was for nothing. And now we head to Talastar with a third of our forces.
But there's so much to gain here. You'll be with us, with kin like you.
I wonder if the others will be there. I petitioned the help of some of the Northern Lycans to come down. They said they would wait for me.
Well, I think for both our sakes that I hope that they're there. It would be nice to have more like us.
How many of you are still alive?
20-some odd, and they pluck one from us each day. Something about preparing for some great sacrifice.
I have heard of their sacrifice. It will not be what they expect, just more senseless death.
And they do it in the name of Solomon. Say it's for justice. I don't.
Many stupid men do stupid things for gods who do not care about them.
He kind of chuckles a bit to himself.
Oh, I've seen plenty.
So have I. Is my friend with you?
Oh, he's here. A couple cells away from me. Rotting like the rest of us, but alive.
Good. I believe we will come within the next week or so. It is hard to tell. The days are blending into each other.
I hope so. I truly do. I want to be free. I want to roam again. Being pent up in this damned cell.
You can see his eyes sort of squint a little bit, his eyelids covering his amber glow.
Come quickly, and bring many with you. The world would be best without these fanatics.
As many as I can.
You're pulled from your meditation. During the meditation that you were in, Tamacti, you were able to land on the ship bringing back Sasha.
Yes.
Do you just drop him off and head back for Tabe to bring him to the second ship, or do you stick around for a bit, or what's up? You see that Rubin is perhaps doubling over a little bit in pain as it's like he's hissing and just leaning against this broken railing.
Tamacti will drop Sasha off, sort of give him a nod and a smile, and then do a double take and look over at Rubin and walk over worried.
And he probably just finished talking to Weasel right when you get there.
No, I don't know.
I would say so. I also want to clarify, Gabriel, that as you're pulled out of your meditation, the hold of this beast on you grows the more and the more angry that you're gaining, and the more that you're communing with your kind of inner bestial self. And you also gain level 3 of your transformation, lycanthrope.
Bet. Here we go.
But as you're figuring that out, continue on, both Rubin and Tamacti.
Are you okay?
Tamacti, do you know anything about curses?
Nope.
Can you fly me to the ship behind us?
The one directly behind us.
And he nods.
Sure.
And he folds his book closed and goes to attach it to his belt and then just kind of stands there. He's not really sure how he's going to pick him up, but he looks.
Tamacti will just sort of walk up and give him a hug, basically, and then just take to the air.
As you go to hug onto him, you hear a shout from the front of the ship. It's Balfour. Stop! Stop! Shallows, there's land! And he,
for fuck's sake.
And you hear, like, stop, 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 coming from all the other ships. It's echoing. People aren't like, second-guessing this. There's no second-guessing this kind of thing. It's either, like, you do it, or you don't. And if you do it, and you stop, and it turns out that there's not shallows, like, oh, worst-case scenario, you just keep rowing again. So everyone's shouting this from back to ship to ship to ship to ship, and everyone's starting to stop, and you can hear kind of like the creaking of the bottom of the ship as it's skidding into sand, and all the other ships stop, and the whole column is stopped as you grab onto him. And Weasel, not much to do at the helm. He leaves the wheel and he rushes down the stairs and towards the front of the ship, where he grabs onto one of the torches on the way there and kind of peers over. Damn it! He kind of like feels at his eyebrows. Lets out a sigh. He's right. There's shallows. Prepare to... fuck. He's thinking. He's racking his brain. We have two options. We either abandon the ships and move on foot. Someone bring me my map. He holds out his hand, brows, furrowed together, fingers kind of like itching at his forehead, and eyes closed. And one of the crewmen comes jogging over, grabs his map, or hands him his map, and he is just like staring at it, trying to figure out where you guys are. You guys are all seeing this going on.
I get up, yeah. I get up from my meditative stance.
Well, I guess we'll
I go towards the front.
have to wait for a second if you are okay with that, Rubin.
Yes, this seems pretty dire.
I would agree.
Continue.
He kind of like unfurls himself from Tamacti.
Tamacti would almost regretfully let go.
We either scout to see how far the shallows go, and if they're deemed too far, well, we either lift the ships somehow and ford them across this bullshit, or we leave the ships and we go on foot to our destination. I think that we're somewhere around here. And he points on the map.
He points right here. We are actually at Talstar.
Man, we're far.
Whoa.
He points to the bend.
I mean, we
Yeah,
could
that's
walk to Malkovia from there. That's not too far.
Yeah, but Talistar is still a ways out.
Yeah, but we
Talstar is
might
like
be able
right
to.
here.
I guess
But we
we
might
could
be able to
steal a couple of
find.
horses.
We might be able to find an alternate means of transport in Malkovia if
True.
it's still
Yeah.
there.
This is
Because otherwise
this
the
is
boat will
Talstar
have to
right
go
here.
all the way around this bend here.
Almost
Yeah.
makes more sense to leave the boats.
I kind of go up to the front and I look towards Weasel.
There is a town of Malkovia. We could stop there and look for other ways of transporting us.
Yes, I see it on the map, but what do you think they'll do when they see a roaming army of Northmen? Do you think they'll just hand over their ships or their horses? That there will be enough for fucking 250 of us.
We-
300.
We could buy them.
With what?
Or we could steal them.
Threaten them,
Chuds.
blackmail them, say that we'll kill all of them if they don't hand over every ship that they have.
I nod. Or something simpler. In Malkovia, I am sure they have either a lord or someone who rules over, someone who cares about their petty, insufficient existence. We will go, the three of us, and threaten him to give him what we want, or I will slice his throat along with everyone he loves.
So then, what?
It will not risk the lives of anyone else other than the three of us.
We then wait here and try to start fording the boats.
Wait close to Malkovia. You should come on foot with us. Or if you think you can get this done in between, then stay here.
It depends how far it is. It wouldn't be the first time that we had to do this. We have to fell a bunch of trees, roll the boats across them.
How long?
It could take a day, 2 days. It depends how far it is. Fuck.
I look to the other two.
I will go scout. I will take a couple more with me. He looks at Lanya, and he looks at the newly sort of mended Sasha. You two, you're equipped. You'll come with me. We'll be back in an hour or so.
Understood. We will stay here on the boat then.
I'm going to shorthand this for sake of time.
No worries.
If you guys don't do anything during this time, they hop over the side of the ship, climbing down the kind of rope ladders that there are, and they disappear, splashing off into the side of the trail and making their way along the water with a single torch, looking for the shallows. And they return, I'd say, about 40 minutes later. Do you guys do anything during that time? You can speak to each other if you want. I know that there's kind of some stuff going on, or...
I'll turn, I guess, as these three leave. Look towards Tamacti and Rubin.
We do not have long to get to Talistar.
And
The ritual they are preparing there is almost at its end.
Rubin doesn't say anything. He's kind of looking towards the floor, as you two are, or as this whole conversation's going on. Like he's in his own little world.
They run out of sacrifice.
And then
And then I suppose their ritual will be done, and they will summon this thing that the Lich has prepared for them, lying to them that it was about Solima. Do you not remember the Well, you were not there, actually.
no.
Rubin and I were. This ritual they are preparing is built on a lie. They will summon a wave of death again.
I see.
Not what they are seeking. And, well, with the experience I have with religious zealots, there is only one thing they understand, and that will be to kill them. We will not be able to reason with them. I have been speaking with the other lichens that are locked there through my dreams.
Yes.
We do not have long.
Well, what do you suggest we do then? What is seemingly to you the best course of action?
Depending on Weasel and how long this takes. If it takes a day, we can afford one. 2, still can afford it. After that, it would probably be faster to go to Malkovia on foot. Secure transport by a way of threatening someone or, well, I doubt asking nicely will get us anywhere.
Who's to say, though, that there is transport in Malkovia?
There might not be boats, but there will be horses.
Enough for everyone?
Maybe not, but we will take what we can.
And if Malkovia is another Castellor?
What?
Which is why the 3 of us will go first, without anyone else. If we bring the entire army of Northmen there, it will not do us any good in the Malkovia city. The 3 of us are simply travelers. 250 of us, that is attention.
Indeed. Well, hopefully that when Weasel returns, we shall find that it will not be too hard to ford these shallows.
There is still the question of my kin who will meet us in Talistar.
What about them?
I believe they will be at the rendezvous still.
Yes, and
But what I'm saying is if we cannot make it with the Northmen, hopefully they will be enough.
did we ever, I don't know, receive specifics on their fighting force?
I shake my head.
As impressive as I'm sure your kinsmen no doubt are, as you are very impressive yourself when you are in your lichen form.
My eyes narrow.
I fear that if there are not sufficient numbers of them, they will be, well, overwhelmed, swarmed, so to speak.
Quite possibly. I do not know how much they are bringing. Nor do I know how well they will cooperate with the Northmen once we are there. Or them with the others.
I see no reason why they would not cooperate with the Northmen. Their chief issue has been solved in a quite dramatic way, some way I think they would probably at least partly approve of.
I nod. True. Well, I suppose we will see there. For now, if you have something to do, we have an hour about to kill before Weasel comes back.
Well, I'm going to do some Pilates.
I know. I'll go sit at the front.
Actually, Tamacti, can you please take me to the
Oh,
ship?
yes, I forgot. What is this about, if you don't mind me asking?
I need to know more about the curses.
Why? You seem rather intent on them.
Beaker Corrin, I take it you remember. I believe he was cursed last we saw him.
Ah,
And now I don't know what will become of him.
that is not good. Let
No.
us go now then. Get you hopefully some good answers.
And he nods and just grabs Tamacti. Already knowing how they're gonna get there.
Tamacti will grab onto him as well and fly to the second ship.
Gotcha.
That is where you
How
wanted
much
to
did-
go, correct?
Yeah.
It is. You want to go to Ruin Ship.
Yeah. What?
On the second ship, there are mages. On top, there are other crewmen that were North Raiders, and a couple former slaves, now free people. They're all just kind of gathered up at the front of the ship, looking out in the distance, kind of quietly talking to each other. And as you land on the ship with Rubin, you immediately see that one of the mages is there.
And once more, Rubin kind of unhooks himself from Tamacti and turns around to face this mage.
And then Tamacti's gonna fly to go pick up Tabe and bring him back to the second ship as well, and then that'll be all I want to do for this hour.
Okay, we'll shorthand that happens. Sounds good. And then Tabe goes about questioning people, of course, like who's injured and helping them where he can. The mage that you speak to is Imric. He's the same one that kind of icicle-lighted you guys out of the ship to destroy Baldwin.
Ah, okay.
Oh, I remember that
Same
guy.
one that also incinerated what remained of Baldwin. What a legend.
Emmerich, do you know of curses? Do you know anyone who does?
What was your name again?
Reuben.
It was Rubin. That's what it was.
And he nods.
I know a thing or two about curses. Yes. Why do you have some questions?
I do. I want to know if it's possible to cure this curse.
Curses can all be cured, sure. They can be cast from a distance. It
How far of a distance?
doesn't really matter. That's the thing. The likelihood of a curse taking hold is dependent on the transgressions of the one being cursed against that which is cursing him or her.
I couldn't tell you who is the one cursing, but I know who is cursed.
And he reaches down to his belt hurriedly and takes up his book and starts flipping through the pages towards that one blank page that had been written in. and displays it out towards Imric.
He looks over the page. It can be cured. I am semi-familiar with this one. I don't have the components to cure it, and you need to be with the person that you want to cure. Are they far from here? Are they on the ship?
And he shakes his head again. No, I'm not entirely certain where they're at, honestly. What
Right.
would you need to cure it?
There are a plethora of components. A hair from the lost but not found. A twice murdered raven. Some shadow steel. He kind of racks his brain, tapping the side of it. A book that has been written but never read. A couple other things. He like waves his hand dismissively. Like I said, I don't have any of them. I don't really have a need to have any of them.
Can you make a list and give it to me?
He extends his hand to like take your book from you.
He's the book is actually like chained to his belt, so it just like yanks him slightly. He moves quickly to undo the belt and just let him take the whole thing.
He writes down a couple things with. Do you have a quill that you give him?
There's probably one just like on the book or something.
Okay, probably. He finds the first blank page that you can manage, unless you would stop him and force him to write on another page.
No, he wouldn't stop him.
He writes down a list of things that include Hag's Promise, a strand of hair from the lost but not found, a twice murdered raven, the highest pine cone of a forest, a clock which runs backwards, a black pearl harvested no later than a week ago, a book that has never been read,
Okay.
Wait a minute.
a rose that grows in darkness but not sunlight,
Oh God.
a life willingly given,
Me.
and a wish.
Well, I feel like with a wish you could just wish away the. Okay.
I'm wishing away the curse, sir.
You don't
The
need,
whole thing.
You don't need all of these things. He kind of like hands the book over to you. It's 3 or 4 should suffice.
And he lets out like a little bit of a sigh of relief. Like after looking at their list and realizing how fucking impossible that would have all been. Right. Which ones are the easiest to get, do you think?
He shrugs. I don't know, you tell me. Most of them seem like to me things that you would just by chance happen upon.
You would happen upon a twice murdered raven?
Well, that one would probably actually be easiest. If you see a raven, kill it, bring it to one of us, and we can bring it back from the dead, kill it again.
Right. And he looks back at the list. Continue, what were you saying?
There wasn't much else to say, just that you need a few of them. I think that the highest pinecone in the forest, I would scratch that one out. Who the hell knows which one that is? You're going to what, measure every single one of them?
And he nods a little bit and just like draws a little X next to it, but not scratching it out just in case.
A book that has never been read you could perhaps buy from a town or a city.
And he nods again.
It would be quite difficult to find a rose that grows in darkness but not sunlight, I'd imagine, but if there were ever a time, that now would be the time.
Right.
And of course, a life willingly given, it's a bit... Well, you happen upon that, I would think. Unless you want to kill yourself, but do what suits you, I suppose. I don't think you're that bad, so don't do it, really.
And he nods again. Well, I have your attention. There's one more thing I need to ask about.
All these fucking questions.
That's what you're here for, I imagine. He flips back through the book towards the Dream Whisperer, and he kind of displays the page and the hand-drawn image that Rubin would have done a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is also an affliction, not as pressing, but if it's something you know how it comes about, it would be very useful, especially since we just had an encounter on the first boat with them.
And these come from a curse,
Yes,
and then they just roam the land.
I suppose. Or are you telling me this?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Do you know how this sort of curse would occur?
It's called the Curse of Lost Sentiment. It's a very... compared to the other curses, it's a simple curse. It's the easiest one to achieve. Who knows how long it takes to culminate into this sort of effect, but it ranges person to person. Some more lucky than others, some less lucky. Just like every other curse. There are some sort of signs that you can see when someone has been cursed. This one begins to forget events that have occurred within the past few days, and the names of well-known acquaintances. And later verses into they forget all about their closest companions, and the curse begins to create twisting creatures and delusions in their mind, hidden threats and scheming rivals, paranoia. And then finally the curse creature completely forgets about all their closest companions and who they even are, and any goals they once possessed. The curse twists their mind into madness and fabricates delusions of a great conspiracy only the cursed creature can prevent. And the cursed creature is compelled to take any action that they believe necessary to uncover this conspiracy. I've seen people driven mad by it and put down by the blade before they can turn into these creatures.
Is there a point where it's reversible?
Any point up to the culmination, yes.
No, you're not. Thank you. Those were all of my questions.
Right.
And, probably around that time, I assume Tamacti would be bringing... Who was it? Who was he bringing?
Tabe, my
He would
boy.
bring in Tabe. Yeah, maybe I'm cursed, I'm forgetting. And he'd wait till Tabe is sat down and then step back.
I've got all the answers I need.
Okay. Tabe, are you going to be alright here for a while?
I think so. I don't see why not. We're all just standing still here now.
Okay.
The most I can do is be useful.
Well, if you need me, just shout. I should be able to hear you.
He gives you a thumbs up.
Alright, well, good luck with your healing. Oh, by the way, you don't have the magical ability to detect people's sort of good or evil intentions, do you?
I do not work in magic, Tamacti. I work in religion and faith.
He points to Emmerich.
That would probably be the man you'd want to ask.
Right. How about you?
That's not a spell I have much interest in, but I can cast it, sure.
When you cast this spell, I'm not familiar with it myself. When you cast this spell, do the people you are casting it on, are they aware that you are casting it on them, or is it sort of a field like detect magic?
He kind of itches at his stubble. In truth, I don't know. I don't think they're familiar.
I see. Well, that's good to know. What was your name?
Imric,
Imric. I'm Tamacti. I don't know if we've properly met.
you were aboard the ship, were you not?
Yes, but so many aboard this ship. I'm sure I didn't get to properly introduce myself to every single one of them.
Right.
So consider
Well-
this a proper introduction.
He extends his hand out, shakes the air, and then extends his hand back to himself. Sure.
Sorry, he shakes the air.
Yep.
Is this some sort of... Never mind. We're going to head back to the ship now. I may call upon you later for your usage of detection of evil and good, but for right now, it's just good to know that you have it.
He shrugs. If you need me.
Sure. Well, you all stay safe back here. Well, we'll be up at the front.
Then Tamacti would nod.
Okay. They just kind of awkwardly nod back. I think Imric pulls out his book and starts flipping through some pages, like his little spell book.
Tamacti will grab, we'll bear hug Rubin and fly on back.
Okay. About the time that you guys get back is about the time that Weasel and Lunya and Sasha return, and they trudge through the water, and they remain silent until they get aboard the ship. They make their way up the rope ladders. Well,
I look at him.
he looks to you, Gabriel, first. We have good news, and we have some shitty news.
As expected.
The good news, this shallow zone, and probably you guys are also here by now, so you're all three gathered around. The shallows here, they last about half a mile. Not that bad in retrospect. We could make our way across there, and well, we only really need the logs for one ship at a time, so the trees would allow us to get across in maybe about a day of hard work. We have plenty of men to take rests and shifts.
Yes, that seems doable.
It is.
But
But there's no point in it. Because when we got to the end of the shallows, we heard the running of water. Fierce and angry. We kept moving, and it makes sense why there's so much sediment deposited in one spot. It's all been dug up from the base of a waterfall about just past the shallows. The land around it all ventures up a hill to the top of the waterfall, and the waterfall is about 30 feet tall. So moving the ships up that slant is nigh
Impossible.
impossible. We could ford the ships past the bend and around, it would be less of an incline, but it would set us back maybe 4 days.
I think cutting to Malkovia on foot would be faster at this point.
Yes.
We skip the entire circle around this bend here, and I kind of point on his map.
Yeah.
Perhaps we secure the boats here, take what supplies we can, and move on foot.
Right.
We will have to come back for them later.
Yes.
Well, I suggest you talk to the other leaders and gather your men. We do not have much time.
He draws in a deep breath, lets out a lengthy sigh. He was already on it. He's already walking away and headed to the back of his ship. He cups his hands around his mouth and starts to shout out to the second ship. And it's probably audible all the way to the third ship. And as he's shouting these kind of rough orders and situational awareness for everyone, that's where we end the session.
Sounds
Could you, what is he shouting? Could you do that for us?
No. We are going to end the session there and see where the no longer boat travels take us and back onto land in the next session.
This has been a while since. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess we were just at Castler, but still, I mean, like we have
Yeah,
the
but,
boats to
like,
go back to.
actually leaving boats,
Yeah.
and just finally back on the. I'm at home.
So we travel on land in the next episode, probably. And we thank you guys for listening. If you liked what you heard, give us a thumbs up or a follow on wherever you are listening to us on. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you liked what you heard. We would strongly, strongly appreciate any feedback, positive or negative, in the source of a review, if you would be so kind to do so. And that would help us kind of better our podcast on one end or know that we're doing something right on the other. Additionally, we would like to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters. Our Patreon supporters allow us to give back to our community with a form of giveaways and further our character art, our logo art, and really sort of progress us towards every other business aspect that we have where expenses are necessary. Most of the time, it's been out of pocket between both myself and a few other members of the podcast. And so it really goes a long way to help us kind of take the load off our shoulders.
And Prowler, I meant to ask, where could our esteemed listeners find all sorts of wonderful information about Rubin's witch hunter transformation, should they be interested?
Well, I was just looking at finishing that, actually. I have a few scratch notes written down and whipping together the 4th level. I'll probably be putting it in our Discord probably about the time that this podcast goes up. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and it'll be for free in our Discord. So if you want it, go and join our Discord. It'll be a Google Docs link that involves level 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Witch Hunter transformation that I've homebrewed. Inspired heavily, of course, and not heavily, inspired entirely by the work of Ghostfire Gaming with their Grim Hollow campaign guide and Grim Hollow player's guide, both of which include transformations for players to become creatures that are not human, whether that's vampire, lichen, whatever. But that's a good question. Thanks for asking that. And we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters, our party fiends, Xeno and Stags, our party monsters, Rookshaw, Cypher, and Stags, and our party person, Hops, and our party lurkers, Blundy, Windowman, and Valentine. We thank you tremendously for all of your financial support so far, and know that it does go towards things that make our lives a lot easier and hopefully make the podcast a lot better. We also have a shout out that is voiced by Rubin as his character, or Waffle as his character Rubin. At the party monster level, you can gain a kind of shout out that is voiced by one of our characters on the A side or the B side at the end of every episode, until a certain point in which we will have too many and have to change that, sadly. But for now, we have one from Rookshaw. Rubin, would you mind voicing that for us?
Board to shit! Force to wipe!
Please, dear God, someone request another one. I'm so tired of it.
But that's a nice way to end the session. So, as always, never split the party. Thanks for being here. We'll catch you next time. Bye.